Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
It is Friday!
Yeah!
Wow! I didn't think we were ever going to get here this week. With all the hearing news, it felt like days were going backwards early in the week. But we made it. It's Friday, and welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I'm Jay Crawford. Later in the program, we're going to tell you what comes next for the big 10/11/12/14/16 now. And they're not done.
I'm G. Bush, man. I am not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I just actually bought this shirt there, so you can say I'm in the Hall of Fame, right? So let's get this right. The NC2A, hey, big homie OG, is looking bad for y'all. That super conference is coming. We'll talk about it later.
And I'm Brad Sellers. I'm happy to say the NBA free agency has started. And guess what? The Cavaliers are in the mix, along with a few other people. People changing addresses around here. They want out.
Are you talking KD? We're talking KD later.
And I'm longtime Major League Baseball player Bobby Bonilla, and today is my day. $1.2 million. Cha-ching! Thank you, Steve Phillips, now with MLB Radio, for paying me the stupidest contract in the history of baseball. I'm going to collect that $1.2 million till 2035. I might be dead by then, but my kids can pick it up. There you go.
Stupidest or smartest, depending on your perspective.
I guess that's true.
It's a brilliant contract. He hasn't played in 20 years, and he still gets $1 million a year every year on the first day of July.
As a player, we're jealous.
Yeah, everybody should be.
By the way,
he doesn't have to do anything. He
Nope,
just has
it's
to
just
show
sitting
up.
there as an annuity every year.
By the way, there's a player even older than him who was a great player named Bruce Sutter. Remember him? Closer with the Cardinals and the Cubs back in the day. I can't remember the exact amount, but today he collected like a payoff check. I think it was from the Cardinals, but I can't remember now. For like $9 million.
Insane.
And he hasn't played in even longer than Bonilla.
And so these young guys, take a page out of these old guys.
Yeah.
We want money, not fungible NFTs, not Bitcoin. Take it from Odell Beckham Jr., who's lost $1
And
million.
deferred money is the best kind of money.
Is it money or is it shmoney?
Over $1 million is money.
Right.
Also, I want to do this at the start of the show. Yesterday, if you watched, congratulations. If you missed, shame on you.
Yeah.
You missed one of the all-time rants in Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show history. Bull does a segment where we call it Seeing Red. Well, take a look at the bullseye today.
Bull.
Yeah, get a close up. Can we get a close up on my eye here?
Yeah, I want you guys to look at what that happened most likely because of your rant yesterday.
I have a busted capillary.
He blew a vessel.
I saw this.
Vessel.
I actually, for the first time in my life, this happened a couple of days ago. And I saw this, and I was like, what is going on? I was freaking out. I was like, do I got to go to the hospital? I called my doctor. Now I'm creeping. Now it's creepy, my face. I'll show you one more time. Look at that.
That's the bullseye. That's the bullseye.
And then I woke up this morning. I was like, "Oh my God!" I screamed so much yesterday. I busted the capillary again.
I was a little concerned yesterday.
Somebody go to the emergency medicine cabinet.
Did you see it?
I saw it. I saw enough of it. Bring get some Visine or something over here.
I don't think that's going to help.
No.
You're not going to. That's just going to take
I
time
gotta
to
stay
heal.
calm today, which is well, forget it. I'm not going to stay calm.
Yeah, don't stay calm. Do you, Bull? Do you? It was awesome. All right, we start today's program with the latest on Deshaun Watson. Yesterday came news just around 5:30 or so that the 3-day hearing is over. Both sides had a chance to make their pitch. Now, here's what comes next. Sue Robinson, who is the league disciplinary officer as appointed by the NFLPA and the NFL, has given both sides, the NFLPA and the NFL, until July 11th to file briefs. This is a common procedure during court hearings. They may want to make points that they've thought of after the hearing was over. So by July 11th, all of that stuff needs to be submitted to Sue Robinson. So the theory that we might have this before 4th of July weekend, you can throw that out the window. That's not going to happen. At this point, I think if you're looking for a deadline, let's just say sometime before training camp, That gives her a couple of weeks
Right.
after she has the briefs. In the meantime, over the next 10 days, she can pour through what she heard in the hearings.
I mean, I would think the week of the 18th is the best case scenario. At this
I
point,
would
right?
think really anytime after the 14th or 15th, because
Right.
that'll give her a couple days to
Yeah.
digest what's in the briefs. I think she has a general idea where she's going.
Probably,
She's just
yeah.
going to use all the information from the briefs that are filed, and she's going to make her decision after that. There was almost instantly, the NFLPA was the first to leak. I haven't seen any leaks from the NFL side. That might tell you something. Usually if things go well, you want to get the news out.
It's true.
The NFLPA, moments after this thing ended, was burning up Mike Florio's line. Now, he tweeted 4 successive tweets, and here's basically what he had to say. First of all, he mentions the hearing's over, some information from a source with knowledge of the proceedings. The NFL interviewed 12 alleged victims, and the hearing focused on 5 of the women making allegations against Watson. First of all, just a quick roundtable on that. That, to me, says that they found 7 of them to be not credible. If they weren't willing to bring up information from 7 of those women, they must have felt that they lacked credibility. Am I wrong in reading that in?
I read it like this. You try to make your case. They took the 5 best ones, 5 best that they felt could make a strong case for themselves.
So you don't necessarily discount the 7.
Because you're not bringing all 12 in there, right? Unless you got
Well, if all 12
but unless you
seem
got 12,
credible.
12 egregious things going on, right? And in that case, it appears that they did not have that, but they said, let's take the best of the bunch, and we can make a stronger case for ourselves if we just.
So you think they just boiled it down to the best
to the 5?
I don't think the other 7 are necessarily not credible, but I would say at the very least they're not strong. Because think about it. They're not trying to get, they've admitted they're trying to get an unprecedented suspension here.
Right.
So if you're trying to get an unprecedented
You would
suspension,
pile on with
you'd
that-
use everything you
all
could
the
that you
good
thought would
stuff
help.
that you had.
So, they obviously didn't feel those other 7 could help them in their case.
Just like in spades, man. Right now they telling me y'all got 4 in the possible.
Yeah.
You ain't got very many trump cards on here now. You got the 4 or the 5 that you brought up here. Now, if I had slam dunk cases, I'm definitely telling all 12. Because you know why? Because it strengthens numbers. How did we get here? They said 66, 24, the big numbers.
Sure.
If I can come in front of you and be like, Judge, I got 12 of these.
We talked to
airtight.
12, and this is what we heard from all 12.
But I will say this as well: in any court proceeding here, any charges, they have a multitude of charges, and then at the end, when they actually go to trial and go to court, they only go on with 2 because they dismissed the others because the others were really weak.
Yeah.
And when you look at it in totality, they went with the strongest ones they had.
Okay, here was the second tweet from Florio. He said that and I immediately said that I thought this was the one that jumped out to me at first.
Yes, no doubt.
Non-legal mind. This was the one that caught my attention. The case presented by the NFL included no evidence of violence, threat, force, or coercion by Deshaun Watson. And I immediately said, wow, that's troublesome for the NFL. But a lawyer that I was speaking to after our 5 o'clock show yesterday immediately pointed out, but he hadn't been accused of any of those things. So the point the lawyer was making, it's no surprise that they offered no evidence to that because nobody had accused him of force, coercion, or violence.
It's so weird. Like, we've talked about this case so much, and, I'm no stranger to hyperbole, obviously. But the hyperbole used to describe what Deshaun Watson, like, there's a lot of fans who are like, he raped these women, and he did that. And, like, it's like, whoa, he's not even accused. Like, I didn't even realize, you said you didn't realize it either, like, he was not accused of any of those things.
No.
I mean, that's so crazy. And ultimately, I saw that, and I said, well, what's the difference between, and we'll get to this part, between him and Robert Kraft? If he's not accused of violence or coercion, well, what did he do?
And I say this part of it, right? I said in Houston, Texas, there were 2 in suburban Texas. There were 2 filings, tried 2
criminal
charges against Deshaun Watson. They could not bring a case or find a way to at least get him in court to pursue those charges. I said there was a flaw here, and I will just tell you, if I read that tweet there, and they have none of those elements here, it's going to be hard to make a case against Deshaun Watson.
Because those would be the criminal elements.
Yes.
Right.
And so we know that he was alleged of doing some improper things during these massages. But when you really boil it down, if it wasn't force or violence or coercion's the tricky one.
Yeah.
Because coercion could imply that he manipulated them into doing something they didn't want to do, either through his stature or power or fame.
So, even when the initial trials happened, when they interviewed the police officer in Houston, She was on the stand. These are all this is actually on Yahoo. She tried to insinuate that coercion could be the fact that Deshaun Watson is 6'2". Coercion could be the fact that Deshaun Watson is popular, he's rich, he's famous. And she ultimately argued that if a rich, famous person of that stature is in the room, technically a woman is not able to give consent.
The only problem with that is, G, that the police officer all the time can say 1,000 things. It's not up to them. It's up to the prosecutor to decide.
And
exactly. You said
what does the law
trial.
say?
What you meant was the proceeding,
right,
the grand
right,
jury
right,
proceeding,
right. So,
where charges were not handed up.
And by the way, what, do we know what the law says? Like, what does the law say? Is that true? If that's not a law,
well, if you think about it, though, it's kind of crazy. The scenario that you suggested, that a woman can't give consent to a famous person, a large person, a rich person. I mean, we know that not to be true.
You have the officers on scene. Let's say the officers on scene who are investigating the case, and they say, "I got a great case, right?" But when it comes in front of the person who's to adjudicate it, and they look at the fact, like, you have nothing.
Well, the thing is, there were never any officers called to any scene.
No, but I'm saying they're here because you had a couple. There was one police officer in Houston that testified that, or was on record saying that. Of these women, these two have the strongest cases.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, that's your opinion. What about what the prosecutor says after they review all the facts?
Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, no, I don't think so.
Let's get to the third tweet. This was interesting, too, because in this tweet, we knew that the NFL was looking for the indefinite suspension, but the NFL admitted that the punishment it seeks, indefinite suspension or 1 year, is unprecedented. And then the fourth tweet was, and this kind of ties into the third one, also the league admitted that its security director investigated Robert Kraft and the situation that he had with the massage parlor in South Florida,
on video?
and that no punishment was imposed on him. Now, Bull, I know you're not a Mike Florio fan.
No.
But what's your overall takeaway from this?
As much as I've been critical of Mike Florio at times, because he sometimes and maybe it's because I do this a little too, he throws out stuff that's opinion and he tries to make it seem like fact. That's kind of how I talk too, so I kind of get it. But I've never accused Florio. He's not making anything up, right? So, like, is it possible his source has some wrong information? Of course, that's always possible. But I think this probably is pretty credible, right?
Yeah.
So if all of this is true, if everything he reported is true, I now look at Robert Kraft and Deshaun Watson, and I say, what's the difference? I say, well, Deshaun Watson, it's maybe more women. Maybe. I don't know if we know exactly how many women. Because Robert Kraft, I'm sure, wasn't the first time he went to one of those.
That I am aware of. My understanding of the Robert Kraft situation, it was
just one woman.
That
so
he was caught up in a sting.
Yes,
They
right.
have
One
been there
woman.
multiple times.
Right.
One person.
Yes.
Right. One time. But on the other hand, as you pointed out when we were talking about this before the show, Robert Kraft did something he knew for a fact was illegal.
Correct.
He went to an illegal operation. Deshaun Watson did not. So, to me, I look at it now without knowing every last detail of what happened, and I say, what's the difference? There's really no legitimate difference between the two.
The difference was Robert Kraft skated.
Yeah.
Right.
And Deshaun Watson's career hangs in the balance. So one thing that we've talked about on this program at length, and I think this comes into play when you look at that fourth tweet, that is in here, and that was leaked from the NFLPA to Mike Florio for one reason.
You knew they were going to sling that. They were going to sling that.
It's the NFLPA saying, remember, the gun is currently in the holster, but it's loaded. Because the next phase to this, number 4, which I think is big, the next phase to that is the league is going to say, we want to see what your security director unearthed on Robert Kraft. We want to see that.
Right.
Because if you're going to connect the dot from Robert Kraft to no punishment, we want to see how you got there. And that's where it's going to get really interesting.
Right.
And Robert Kraft then is going to put pressure on Goodell. Hey, Roger, let's get this thing over with.
I said the other day the league was ready, the Players Association was ready to become a flamethrower. And they threw a couple darts out here to let them know they meant business. Now, what could happen behind the scenes is this still can happen. In this interim period, because the arbitration goes to the briefs being filed, which is a normal process, and I don't agree that she's going to make a quick decision. Typically, when I'm in arbitration, it takes a while for the arbitrator to come back because they go through the briefs in totality. Then they have to form an opinion.
How long does that process
typically in my world 2 months.
But there isn't there? There's a time.
They've got pressure. They have pressure. So I'm saying this.
So there's an artificial time structure here.
No, what's artificial is that people wanted to happen before this date.
Well, that's what I mean.
And I'm saying that it could not. It's
possible that it
could go longer. Right?
Or it could possibly end in a settlement.
Yeah, the league and the Players Association can still sell it, right? It depends. Again, it just really depends on how deep and dirty they want to go with it.
Whoever wrote this is good. McNuggets, can I don't know if it's too much. The third tweet that talks about it's unprecedented, right?
Give us 1 sec.
All right. When you look at this, right?
Yeah.
They frame this perfectly. They say, we want an indefinite suspension, which we must admit has never taken place before. Right. Judges go unprecedented, right? Judges, she's a federal judge. She understands precedent. When you see that the NFL admitted that the punishment it seeks is indefinite suspension of at least 1 year is unprecedented. Then in the next clip, right? They carved this correct. They did this. They painted it so good. Yeah. And then you go to the next one and they say, well, we also admit that we investigated Robert Kraft for the same thing.
Right, essentially.
And there was no punishment imposed.
And Watson's camp could argue, well, Deshaun shouldn't be punished at all. Robert Kraft
I'm sure they argued that.
When the NFLPA made their leak, they leaked it in that order.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Knowing that connect the dots from 3 to 4, and how are you asking for anything?
Well,
and Florio's been the Florio's no Browns homer, as we all know.
No,
certainly.
he's not.
Guys, I based on what those tweets are, again, if they are accurate, I don't see, I've been saying 8 all along, I don't see how he can get any longer than a 6-game suspension max, and it might be 4 after seeing all that.
I don't even know how you get to 6, right? Because they didn't drop Snyder. They didn't drop Jerry Jones yet, right?
They did kick out Jerry Richardson.
Here, they did enough. They did enough to whet the appetite to say, league, how far you want to go with this? Right. Because we're prepared to go with it, right? But there's a lot of grievance on both sides.
You're thinking it could be scaled back maybe to 4,
right? Because the unprecedented part is a problem.
Oh,
right? It's a problem. Yeah. Right.
By the way, we keep saying unprecedented, but the league, Paul Hornig and Alex Karras were both kicked out of the league for a year for gambling.
Right.
For having an association with a casino.
Right.
Actually.
Maybe they mean for like this type of behavior.
I think probably in the player conduct era.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's what they're talking about.
Calvin Ridley just got suspended for a year for gambling.
We're using Florio's words.
Right.
Yeah. Let's just get down
to Florio was reporting what the NFLPA
said.
Exactly. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. The meat and potatoes are that there's a decision coming, and I believe the Players Association made a great case. I do. I don't think the NFL's case was as strong as they thought it was.
No way.
When you're beating the wins before the game, they're trying to tell me how strong your case is.
Well, Albert Breer said that yesterday.
I was expecting them to lay the mat down the first day.
Yeah.
And the mat they laid down was not as strong.
Now, I do want to say one thing. So I read into the NFLPA leak. I said yesterday, whoever leaks first feels they have the strongest case. Mm-hmm. And I said that to somebody who covers the league, and they said, be careful with that, and here's why. And this was a great point. Yes, if you've got a strong case, you want to get that word out quickly.
If you got a weak case.
But during the course of this proceedings, it was also leaked that Sue Robinson was not happy with the leaks. So if you're the NFL, if you're Roger Goodell, you get everybody together that has any knowledge of this case at all and say, everybody, zip it. We've got 2 distinct messages coming from our office. One of our people leaked that we're good within 6 to 8. Right. Another person leaked that that's completely not true.
Right.
We're looking erratic. We're looking divided. No more leaks. So it's possible we didn't hear anything from the NFL, not because they didn't love their case, but because they're trying to not piss off Sue Robinson to the point where she really comes down hard on the league and sides more for Watson.
And Jay, let's talk about this a little bit. So the lawyers for the league are the lawyers for the league. Mm-hmm. See, they don't have Busby, right? Busby's not on their team.
That's true, yeah.
He's not arguing these cases. And from what I'm looking like,
they worked with Busby to be
sure. They worked with him.
Yeah.
But when you're in front of that judge, it's different levels of what you can argue. Busby did a masterful job of doing what he needed to do, which is get his plaintiffs paid. Now, when you got to prove the suspension, they don't have that to lean on. They got to go prove that on their own merit. And it does not look like they're doing a good enough job. Because think about it. With all the stuff that we've heard as regular people, why would that not be out front when you're arguing this stuff, right? You bring 4 cases, and then they say no coercion, no violence. Whoa, that undermines the whole narrative that's been going around. Like he was running around being a predator, and now and the thing that gets me, no coercion. That's huge.
That's the tricky one.
Let me say this. I think this. They're no closer to finding out what happened yesterday than they were from the beginning. I said you're still in the midst of this entire process, and you probably won't find out a good answer to the end. But they want the answer now.
So the danger of doing what we're doing, we're doing it anyhow. But the danger of doing what we're doing is we have one side of the puzzle.
That's true.
We know what this side looks like.
True.
And also, this should be pointed out. So this news was obviously given to Florio from the NFLPA. They're going to make it look as good as they can.
Sure.
The news number 2, which we're focusing on, the NFL offered no evidence of violence, threat, force, or coercion. That's the NFLPA's stance. The NFL may sit there and say,
yes, we did.
The hell we didn't.
That's true.
So
that's why we've said if that's true.
So you really have to be careful of making too many big decisions.
That's true, guys. I think there's real hope here from taking it away from the seriousness of the situation to fans. And there's real hope that maybe it's only going to be a 6 or less game suspension.
Yeah.
And if it's 4 games somehow, that is a massive win.
Well,
that's a huge win for
let me
the
say
Browns.
this. I don't want to get back to the seriousness of it.
Yeah.
There's still 4 outstanding cases here.
Yep.
No, you're right.
And if you read those, they're troubling.
Yeah.
And again, I tell everybody here, I'm a father of 4 daughters. And if I read if anything like that occurred, right, I'm upset.
Sure.
Right, because there's some 4 cases that still have to be adjudicated here.
You're right.
All right, and I don't want us to get beyond that.
And we've mentioned on this show, there's no such thing as double jeopardy, meaning that if the league gives him 4, 6, 8, whatever, and then he loses the civil trials, well, that's it. We've dealt with it. I ran that theory past somebody that covers the NFL regularly, and this person laughed at that and said, "This isn't court. This isn't real world." But if the league gets more information,
that's the key.
That
Not
is
necessarily
the key.
a verdict.
If the league gets more information through the civil trials, things that nobody has heard yet.
Yes,
this person said, not only can they, you can bet they will.
Well, they do that. They do that in the real world when they drop the charges without prejudice, so they can come back on you.
If as long as you have it, but like double jeopardy is if you go through a trial, you're found not guilty, you can't be charged with the same crime again.
We don't have to talk about double jeopardy because he did not go through that. Right.
If the league wants to bring him in front of them again for things that they learned during the civil trials, I was told not only can they, but you can bet they will.
I just think the bottom line of this right now is if you're a Browns fan, you're probably feeling more confident in him playing this season than you have in a while. Doesn't mean it's going to happen.
I think you're right. Boy, there's been some ebbs and flows in this.
Yes.
But right now,
you're feeling pretty good.
You're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to come back to the Deshaun Watson thing. Coming up at about 11:30, so about 10 minutes from now, we're going to be joined by Jason Bristol. He's a sports anchor, a local sports anchor at KHOU-TV in Houston. He covered Deshaun Watson for his years there. I think the one thing that we really don't know a whole lot about is what are the people that have worked around him, what do they think of him? Yeah. We haven't heard a whole lot from his teammates in Houston.
No.
So we're going to bring Jason on. He's going to tell us what kind of person he found him to be, what he saw from Deshaun during his interactions, both with the teammates, media, and the community, and that's coming up in 10 minutes. But first, I think we absolutely have to go to the Cleveland Guardians, who unbelievably did it again yesterday. So they had 1 hit in the first 8 innings.
Right.
And I'm watching this shaking my head because we had said in baseball, momentum is the next day starting pitching.
Right.
They've got their ace on the hill, and they're coming off an absolute monumental win, a walk-off extra innings home run, in which they trailed 6-3 in the 10th.
Yeah.
And they looked completely flat through 8 innings, and then
through 7, right? It was the 8th.
Through 7. You're right. They got the 2 in the 8th.
Yeah.
Then in the 9th, they get another walk-off home run against the Twins. Now they're a game behind the Twins. They take 3 of 5 from Minnesota, and 4 times in the last 10 days, they came from behind after the 8th inning to beat the Minnesota Twins. If you're the Twins right now, You have to be absolutely crushed. And before we open it to comments, Mikey,
we got two things.
Play the Twins' call of the home run.
This was amazing.
That won the game for the Guardians last night. Not exactly Tom Hamilton.
High fly, right center field and deep. I think we've had enough of the Cleveland Guardians.
I can't think of their play-by-play guy's name, but he's good. I like him.
He's very good.
He's just done.
Is it Wayne Larrabee?
No, it sounds like Wayne Larrabee.
That's not Wayne.
Yeah,
no, that's not Wayne.
I think
he does Big Ten games. I know he does some Chicago.
That's not Wayne.
He is really good.
Wayne Larrabee's awesome,
he
too.
He is very good. But I thought that was one of the most understated calls in the history of the game.
He's just done. First
I think
of all,
we've had enough.
Look at this stat. Guys, put up that tweet. Look at this.
We'll start with this one, Bo.
Okay.
We'll get to the ESPN
that's
stats.
incredible.
But this stat's unbelievable by itself.
That's crazy.
That's unbelievable.
Such a scrappy bunch, man.
We're not even at the halfway point.
It's amazing.
We can't count
we got
this
another
team
week
out.
till the halfway point.
Unreal. Here's what you were talking about.
Guardians have won 4 games in the last 10 days when trailing by multiple runs in the 8th inning or later against the Twins. That's the most such comeback wins one team has had over another in a full season. This is 10 days. But that's the record in a full season
It's unreal.
since the Tigers did it to the then Indians in 1974. Think about this, guys. The Guardians wake up this morning ready to play a big 3-game series against the Yankees. They are 1 game out of first.
It's unbelievable.
If they had lost those 4 games where they were down double digits, where they were down 2 or more runs in the 8th inning or later, if they had lost those 4 games, they're 9 games out right now.
That's because when you lose to the team you're chasing, it's like 2 games.
Yes.
Do you know when you win like that and you start winning multiple times, you start to believe that?
Well, you can already see it's
I'm
feeding
coming
on
back.
itself.
I'm coming back here. It's not a problem.
By the way,
Nobody
before
panics.
Jimenez hit the blast to center field, we thought we almost had 2 in a row, 2 within 14 hours from Josh Naylor.
Right.
Because Naylor hit a ball about 600 feet that was barely fouled. That would have also been a walk-off home run.
Well, 100%. Couple of things here. First of all, we were just critical of Rocco Baldelli, the Twins manager, 2 days ago.
Oh, man.
First of all, why he left Tyler Thorne. I know they're
Why is he pitching to Jimenez?
That was the second thing. That was one of the dumbest things I have ever seen in my life.
Listen,
Jimenez is your second-best player right now, behind Jose. Franmil Reyes is on. First of all, Tyler Thornburg is gassed.
Absolutely.
The guy's missed 2 years of baseball.
Yep.
He's thrown 50 pitches. He's a righty. Franmil's on deck, who had just pinch hit, the 8th inning, I think.
Inning.
Right, he had walked. Franmil's been lost at the plate.
Yep.
He's a righty. Jimenez is your second-best hitter.
Yeah.
He's a lefty
And
against
he's
the
red
right-handed pitching. It's 2 outs and a runner on second.
I looked at the
Why would you ever pitch to him there?
Baldelli is, you know what, I hate to say guys in first place, he's on the hot seat, but the fans have to be beside themselves.
Oh, my God.
Bull, this is one move, the keeping the pitcher in and then pitching to Jimenez. He's made missteps in all 4 of those losses.
Oh, yeah.
You can second guess his moves, but at the time I was first guessing them.
Yes,
I'm like, what is he doing here?
It worked, but I thought pitching to Ramirez before the Naylor home run the night before was stupid because there was a base open. I know it would have been the winning run.
It wasn't the smart play,
but
it
I
did
didn't
work.
like it. Rick Manning was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I completely agreed with
was the
him.
smart
I thought
play.
that was dumb. He got lucky that it didn't hurt him there.
Yeah,
but
the smart play would have been to work around.
But yeah, Baldelli was lost. He did them a favor. But I mean, that is just huge.
Yeah.
We know this Yankee series is going to be tough, especially tonight facing Garrett Cole. But man, I mean, to win the games the way they have, guys,
They're playing like the Cavs played in the first part of the year. You know, you're too young to understand that you're doing something special.
We don't believe it.
And right now, they're on a wave where even guys that you was just clowning 2-3 weeks ago is now hitting the baseball.
Well, I'm glad you said it. It's like Lynn Barker said the other day. When you're playing a young team and nobody really knows you, we don't give you the respect. Lynn Barker says he comes to the mound. I got this guy, he batting 189. I'm about to smoke him, and he takes me deep.
They're all big league hitters.
So this is what is going on. They won't lock in. I guarantee you this. This league won't lock in to the Guardians until after the All-Star game. Because at that point, they'll be for real in their eye. And they're like, this is a real team coming my way. So you better make sure that you know the personnel, you know what they can do. Don't underestimate them. Because that stat we just put up, the 17 last at bat wins.
Massive.
That's incredible number.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a testament to Tito. I think Terry's mantra is, and he always kind of sheepishly says, you just can't believe what this team does late, but I think he's the architect of it. He empowers them to believe in themselves.
And what's really particularly stand out about Francona, why I want to give him a lot of credit for this year, the one negative on his reputation was that he tended to lean towards veterans a little too much in his career. And the fact that he's doing this and got them playing with this confidence with the youngest team in baseball is pretty remarkable. And it's an adjustment. I mean, he doesn't have much of a choice because it's not like there's a lot of veterans he can play.
Right.
But it's been a great adjustment, and this team is playing with a ton of confidence.
They'd be the youngest team in the AAA level.
Which was
It's
just
unreal.
absurd.
So do they have legitimate talent, or are they playing over their heads?
They're playing over their heads, I think.
I think it's a mix. I think it depends on who the guy is.
Right.
But,
O'Neal is a talent. Ramirez is a talent. I think Gonzalez is a talent.
but who's really overachieving on this
I
roster?
have to push
it's
back
a collective
little bit.
overachievement.
Let me tell you.
Yeah,
Let me
good.
push back a little bit on
Yeah.
this. If you make it to the major leagues, you're a real player.
You're a kid.
You're a
of
real
course.
player. Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
But
Now
there's
you may,
different levels.
but you may not be the top tier guy.
Yeah.
But you know schmuck either,
Yeah.
right?
We also, you know what? Here's the other thing too. We better not pound our chest too much because the Yankees are coming in with the best record in baseball.
Yeah. But
They're a legitimate threat to break the 117 win mark, which
Yeah.
is the current record for most wins in a
They
Major
buy
League season.
their way to the top every year.
unbelievable
They're
how
going to
good
get the
they are,
best
though.
people because they're going to pay the best. The
And they are paying
Yankees
the best.
network and the
But
money
you know
they
what?
make.
If you're not doing anything this weekend, get a ticket, go out to Progressive Field. You're going to see in Judge and Ramirez, you're going to see two of the best hitters in the American.
Yeah, we had the stats up there for a minute. They're
I think the
battling for the MVP.
I think the Guardians told me that they're sold out on 2 nights, and then
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They
Okay,
told me-
that's great.
sold me-
I
sold
mean, you
me on-
expect
There'll
it.
be a
The
lot of
Yankees are in
Yankee
town.
fans.
You expect
Yeah.
it. All right, let's go. Keep the roll going. All right, next up, we told you that Jason Bristol, a sports anchor from KHLU, was going to join us. He's going to give us a little more insight on Deshaun Watson, the person, not the football player. We know what he can do on the field. Jason joins us now on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Jason, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. I want to start by, I know you covered him during his entire time with the Houston Texans. What kind of guy is he? When people ask, what's Deshaun like, what do you say?
I don't think we know anymore. That's really the whole thing in a nutshell. I mean, when he came here, he had this all-American story, as we all know. Growing up in Georgia, got a home from Warwick Dunn, part of Habitat for Humanity. We found him very personable, all-American success story. Here's a guy that after Hurricane Harvey donated a game check or his first check to area workers at the stadium because of their hardships with the storm. He was very personable. Obviously, these days our interactions with athletes are quite limited because of the bubble around them, and then when you throw in COVID as well. But he was everything that I think people thought he was at that time. I mean, he was easy to work with, very personable. He was an all-American success story that we had seen prior to him coming to Houston.
You know, from your standpoint, here in Cleveland, we kind of just heard the rumblings about, you know, his time when, you know, he was ready to move on to another organization. Can you kind of detail where in the timeline it went sour? He gets the contract a couple years ago. I think he was the second highest paid quarterback right underneath of Patrick Mahomes. Where detail what happened where the relationship went sour that you know had him sitting out for a whole year?
So toward the end of that last season was 2020. Obviously, the Texans were having some issues. Obviously, they were looking for a new head coach, a general manager. And what happened was Deshaun is asked about it in a Zoom news conference, and he says that he's been told that he will have a say in the process. And then all of a sudden we hear that reportedly he did not have a say in the process. So again, this is before any of the civil cases. This is before any of this comes out. And we learn here that he will not play for this team anymore because he was not part of this when it came to hiring higher ups in the organization, general manager and coach. He wasn't involved in that, and that's where it all went south. And when you look at the contract, I think a lot of people will look at that contract and perhaps say this is when it all changed. He was this all-American success story, and in some ways, many ways, still is. But look at perhaps some of his presence on social media after that contract. Not directly after it, but maybe weeks, months later, the attitude, I guess you would say, became very much about money and status and being elite. And I think that's perhaps where a lot of people believe things started to turn, or that Deshaun started possibly becoming a different person.
Jason, had he wanted to play last year, would the Texans would they have let him?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say, I don't know. That's a good question. I would say, I don't know. Yeah. You know, when you look at I guess that's never really it's never really come up around here because of well, I shouldn't say that. That's a great question. I don't know. I think when you look at everything that was surrounding him, I would have a hard time believing that a team would put somebody out there with 22 civil cases. But, you know, it's the NFL, and obviously winning is a top priority. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question would be.
Jason, let me ask you a question here. So, one is a comment to your first statement. I don't think media players, you really get to know the person in a 2-minute soundbite. You never know it. It's just as more. I don't know if you know your own president of your own station, right? You just don't get to know them. But I do want to know this. Were the folks in Houston just ready for the saga to end?
In one word, I think yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Listen, he was the last guy that you would have ever expected this. Now I'm talking the off the field stuff. If you had to pick a player on the Texans or any player in Houston sports for something like this to happen, Deshaun Watson at the bottom of the list from what we knew about Deshaun Watson. In fact, a member of the team told me as much. You know, he said, listen, this was a guy that never would have saw this coming. So, yes. And I think what has kind of helped this process along was what Davis Mills was able to accomplish in his first season. I think a lot of people here, we don't know if Davis Mills is a true franchise quarterback, but being a third-round draft pick, there's talk that if he had stayed in college at Stanford, that he would have been a guy who would have gone much higher this time around. I think that we saw enough of him in a number of different areas to think, okay, maybe there's something here. Now, is he going to be Deshaun Watson, football-wise? But I think that gives Houston fans that ability to turn the page and say, enough with this guy. You know, we may have something here.
Hey, Jason, let me ask you one more question. The folks in Cleveland here probably want to know, what did his teammates on the Texans think about Deshaun Watson?
I mean, he was one of the most popular players on the team. As I just said, I spoke to one player after all this went down who again, said that Deshaun would have been one of the last guys I would have ever expected this to come from. And he was the quarterback. I mean, he was a guy who gave presents to his offensive linemen, who opened up a cheesesteak store here in Houston. And this was during COVID pandemic, really at the height of it. And some players were not wearing masks, and he went and apologized and paid all their fines. So he was a guy who hurt himself and had to take a bus. I think he had some damaged ribs, and he took a bus to Jacksonville from Houston because obviously the pressure in an airplane would perhaps have been a dicey thing for him in terms of transportation. Teammates, as far as we know, all about Deshaun Watson. I mean, here's a guy who arguably is one of the best college players we've seen, most successful in recent history, and he was walking the walk and talking, not really talking the talk, but he was definitely walking the walk. And we had no indication that the players felt any differently about him than any player would feel about their star quarterback.
Jason, we don't know what's going to end up happening with these last few court cases out there. But 5 years from now, when Deshaun Watson's consistently gone to the playoffs, won a bunch of playoff games, maybe won a Super Bowl for the Browns, and the Texans are on their third quarterback in 5 years, I'm not a believer in Davis Mills. We'll see. Do you think fans will think, well, listen, we had to move on? Or do you think fans there will be like, man, I wish we hadn't have moved on? Because, it was easy. The Chiefs cut Kareem Hunt, but I bet they wish they had him back. I mean, So I don't know. How do you think fans will feel in the long run if those things happen?
Well, I think there are certainly a large number of fans here that are, this guy, I don't want a quitter. And he quit on this team. He quit on the organization. And I think that there's a lot of fans who believe that this guy just quit and we don't have room for a quitter here. Now, there's certainly a small amount that probably feel that the Texans given him an olive branch and let's see what we can work here. And I'm sure the team did. I mean, David Culley just came out, I think, on a podcast saying that, he, in his first conversation, the former coach of the Texans, had one in-depth conversation with Deshaun, and Deshaun was, I think his message was, hey, what can we do here? And he's like, I'm not going to play for you. It's not you or the new coaching staff you've assembled. I mean, think of this. When the Texans made a transition in coaches, they kept the offensive coordinator, Tim Kelly. Why? Well, you have to believe that was to appease Deshaun Watson, right? So the Texans wanted to do what they could to keep this guy, and he was dead set against coming back to the Texans. And I do believe that there's a large group of fans out there who just believe this guy was a quitter, and we don't want a quitter. If you don't want to be with us, that's all right. We don't want you either. So I think that it's probably most of that, and then there's certainly a little pocket of fans that believe that, hey, this guy, we just wish it could have all worked out.
Jason, we get into arguments all the time, right? We got into this elite conversation yesterday about who's elite, what quarterback is which. And from our standpoint, we only watch, we catch YouTube videos, we watch the highlights. If we're going to play the Texans, we'll look at that. But in terms of you watching him game in, game out, practice in, practice out, do you believe he's an elite quarterback or he's just a tier below, right, in terms of what he can do when he's playing?
Let me think about that for a quarter of a millisecond. Yeah, he's elite. When you look at the when you look at the cast of receivers, now granted, when he first got here, you had DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller, albeit a guy who has had some injury issues. But that 2020 season, the team wins 4 games. You look at the receivers that he had. I mean, these guys are not household names. Some of them I don't think are even playing, might not even be playing in the NFL anymore. And you look at up the numbers and the touchdowns to interception ratio that he did with that group. Yeah, he's elite. There's no doubt in my mind that he's elite.
Jason, the one thing that we've talked about consistently on the program is he going to bring a Super Bowl to the Cleveland Browns? Because ultimately this is an all-in trade from their standpoint. Obviously, the 3 first-round draft choices that they gave up and also the contract. Just the sheer sum of $230 million guaranteed, which has other owners around the league looking at us like, what did you just do to the pay structure in the league? I don't know how familiar you are or intimately familiar you are with the talent, but there's a good amount of talent here. Do you see Deshaun Watson being able to take this club to a Super Bowl?
I do. When you look at how far he got with the group here, certainly there was a lot of star power, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun, but I think where the Texans certainly had issues, and I don't think it's just me saying this, was offensive line. Why else do you make a trade for Laramie Tunsil? And he was able, and not when I say a trade for Laramie.
Looks like we lost Jason. Jason froze.
I wanted to ask one more thing about the relationship between Busby and the owner. I was
so the conspiracy theory, and I wanted to get to that too, because there was a conspiracy that, funny how the second Watson quits on the team, in his words, the rumor is, and this could be, one of those, urban legends or not, but the rumor was that Busby and the owner were neighbors. And all of a sudden, this huge number of women come forward accusing Deshaun of despicable things.
The only thing in defense of Cal McNair, right? Is that the owner?
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't help his trade value.
And that's why that's why I never paid any.
But it is weird that they apparently have this relationship.
Right, but that would be like you bought a brand new car and you want to sell it, but before you do, you spill paint all over it.
Right.
Why would you do that?
It is weird. I don't know.
You need to get something from him or you're really in trouble.
But they
and
still
I'm the hook
did,
for that
even
money.
with all this.
But he's elite.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback.
Yeah.
They're friends, and he filed suit against them.
Yeah, they are added. That was kind of
They're
crazy.
neighbors.
Yeah.
That's,
Hey, we
Now
got
he's
Jason
named the
back real
Texans.
quick if we want to ask Jason.
yeah.
Let's
Let's
find
bring
out
that back.
what
Go
happened
ahead,
there,
Bull.
but sorry
Jason-
about that, Jason.
Jason, I just had a quick question. We can't hear him. Can we hear him?
Yeah, I don't know if his mic is up.
You guys got me?
Yeah, there he is.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there he is.
Jason, last
Yeah,
thing.
sorry,
real
I don't know
quick.
what happened there. You were
That's
there,
okay.
and then all of a sudden,
That happens.
I don't know if the NFL gods had struck us down here or what.
They're messing with
Roger Goodell has control
right.
over the Wi-Fi.
Cut him
in
off.
Houston.
Cut that guy off. Yeah, Jason, last thing real quick. I'm looking at the wrong camera. Bob McNair, or Cal McNair, and Tony Busby. What is the reality about their relationship, and do you buy any of the rumors about, whatever? I don't know. What can you tell us? What do you know about their relationship or anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really speak to that.
Yeah.
I think that Tony Busby has said in the past he doesn't even know who Cal McNair is. I have a hard time believing that. Tony Busby ran for mayor of Houston a few years ago. I mean, you've got the McNair family. They've donated millions and millions of dollars to different projects throughout Houston. I have a hard time believing that someone of Tony Busby's stature doesn't at least know of someone of Cal McNair's stature. So I really can't speak to that. I have a hard time thinking that Tony Busby doesn't know who Cal McNair is. If I do have that correct, that he did say that he didn't know who Cal McNair was.
Yeah, that is odd that he would say
is
that.
funny.
That's
Yeah.
it's almost like he's trying to put distance between him that doesn't exist. And,
thanks,
and that's
Jason.
weird. Hey, Jason, thanks so much for the insight. It was valuable, and I think it does paint a picture of more who he is as a player or as a person rather, and how he's interacted with the media and his teammates through the years. And by the way, we want to congratulate you. Our director of the program has, I think, 26 Emmys. And I don't know how one amasses 32 Emmys. I don't even know how that exists. I'm guessing you work for stations that pay for the entries. But congratulations, you are now the most Emmy-awarded person that's ever worked on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Well, thank you. I'm also wondering, am I the first person to wear a sport coat to come on? Or?
You are. Yeah. That's okay. No, it's a great look. You pull it off
Yeah, I
wonderfully.
think so.
Texas way.
We're pretty casual here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys want to talk about that upcoming Guardians-Astros playoff series, let me know. I'm
Hey,
here.
you know
Are
what?
the Astros still cheating? Are they still cheating?
I don't know. They went to the World Series last year, right? And that was after
Good
they
answer.
instituted
Yeah.
penalties.
Good
and
answer.
they came up with that new protocol, and I think that they just went 7-2 against the Yankees and Mets.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
I thought I saw Altuve doing one of these. Altuve.
Real quick, Jason, I saw Harden decline his options. Houston want him back?
You say laughable.
Well, what's really funny about that is that so the GM of the Sixers is Daryl Morey, as everyone knows, who obviously was here in Houston, and now it looks like they're bringing the band back together because PJ Tucker's coming back. They're reportedly signing Daniel House. Eric Gordon may be joining him. What about Mike D'Antoni? Maybe they can. We love, by the way, but geez, I'm waiting for like that Philadelphia Rockets logo to come out.
Look like Houston East.
I just got a text, Akeem Olajuwon coming out of retirement. He's back.
Hey,
Jason,
it's a dream, right?
Listen, if that does happen, we'll see you again in October. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
All right, we'll see you then, guys.
All right,
Thanks.
great.
Jay.
Jason
All right, take
Bristol
care.
on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. 32 Emmys, guys. That doesn't happen by accident. That is, you're dripping with excellence if you have 32 Emmys scattered around your house.
Bull, we
I
gotta
don't
get
even
one
know
of
where
these.
you put 32
We got to get
Emmys.
one of these Emmys.
Let's go.
dog.
Can we get an Emmy or something?
McNuggets?
I just want to update the record. Me and Jason have 32 combined Emmys. So thank you. I thank you for all the credit.
Well, how about this? Jason
Yeah.
and Steve, our director, have 58 Emmys.
How about
combined.
this? Jason, Steve, the director, and me, 58 Emmys.
Boom.
Hey, here's something. There's no way you run for the mayor of Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
ridiculous.
not know the other guy.
And you know
There's,
what?
there's
I'll
no
tell
way.
Like I kind of did dismiss those conspiracy theories that they're neighbors. Clearly, they're not. If Busby says he doesn't even know him, you can't say you don't know your neighbor.
Right.
Unless you're
living in an estate
you're in
with
Texas,
a fence.
where the
Well, Jay, you live in a state. Do you know
I know
your
my
neighbors?
neighbors. But here's the thing, and this is what jumped out at me as he was saying this.
Yeah.
Why would you say you don't know of them? You don't even know of them.
That's weird.
That is. Can you imagine if Mayor Bibb said, "Yeah, I don't know who Dolan is. I don't know Dan Gilbert."
If you ask any one of us, do you know of Jimmy and D. Hazard?
I'm not even. know him personally. Do you know of him? So
especially when he could have just said, "Yeah, I know him, but we don't."
Yeah,
we're
so
not
it
like
might
friends.
be thou doth protest too much.
Exactly.
I heard. I was like, "What'd you say?"
I know. I had to.
Now the neighbors, I'm picturing Brad Sellers showing up with his neighbors like normal sized humans having a barbecue.
I had to give him.
He's wearing a Kiss the Cook apron.
Actually, that apron said, "You don't want no smoke."
All right, that was great, Jason. Wonderful job. We're going to do good bet, bad bet.
No, we're going Big Ten expansion.
Big Ten.
Oh, yeah. You're first.
Right,
Yeah, we're doing
right up
good
my
bet,
alley.
bad bet at the end of the show.
All right, so the Big Ten is now the Big 16. USC and UCLA defecting from the Pac-12, and this is effective August of 2024. So we'll still have 2 more football seasons where the Big Ten is the Big 14. But then, and this is a caveat, barring that there's no more expansion, it'll be the Big 16 in August of. You should be able to count. That's a problem that I have with this. Obviously, this rocked the college football world yesterday.
Yeah.
It appears that we're going to 2 super mega conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. This may ultimately be the death of the Pac-12 and the ACC guys, who desperately wanted to add 2
and the
horses.
Big 12, which is already pretty much dead.
Yeah, that pretty much is already. I mean, But what do you guys make of this news? Anthony made their new logo, and Anthony, I think that's beautiful.
I think that's better than their current logo.
You know what would be a good one? Take the G and take the little tail on the G and just connect it all the way over to the left side of the blue.
There you go.
And then it's the Big 16.
Yeah.
So let me jump in here because you write up in my thing. So
Yeah.
first of all, Anthony, go back to that logo. Kudos to the Big Ten, because the Big Ten does nothing but big. That's all we do, right? So you think about this. We've covered every major media market. We've got California, LA. We got LA now. We got LA.
Yep.
We have Chicago.
Yeah.
We have the New York area.
That's the top 3.
We have DC.
Not the top 5.
No, but here.
Yeah.
Power.
Absolutely.
That's all
get
they
Atlanta
do.
next.
They do.
Well, San Francisco.
They'll go get Stanford. They'll get Stanford and Cal.
And then we've got power. And
I don't think they want Cal.
And then I will tell you this. Let me tell you this.
Want Stanford,
the Big Ten, not only this, they're talking about Big Ten football, right? Football getting better. Obviously, great. You bring in SC and UCLA. Not that UCLA is a power, but SC can tool back up if they can get it back going. It makes it better. But they got better in basketball, men's basketball. They got better. They got better in women's basketball.
Yep.
They got better here baseball, golf.
USC has won a track and field championship recently.
This thing has power, and it's all because of one thing.
TV.
No, they wouldn't share the money, because if they shared the money, right, the players would not have spread out this thing. So now everybody's on a money grab here, right? Texas heads to the SEC, right? And when they did that, you think the Big Ten was going to sit silent? No. We come calling. Now, I'll tell you, the next person they're calling for is this. They've got to call in the ND, too.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Heather Dinich reported on ESPN this morning that the upcoming Big Ten negotiations of their TV contract.
It's up. Their contract's up.
Right. Could net every school $100 million per year.
Yeah, well, the reason is they just landed the Los Angeles market.
That's right.
They landed the pearl to the West Coast television viewing scene.
And it had to be lucrative to make them leave the Pac-10 or 12 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
To
It's
come all the
TV
way
money.
east, right? But here, if you follow it, Ohio State had been dipping into California and raiding them with players.
Yes.
And they've been coming to Columbus because they're coming here because Columbus provides them a route to the NFL, or they perceive that route.
And a chance to win a championship.
And so the UCLA and USC was a brilliant move because they didn't take long. They sized it up, and they're like, we're out of here.
Yep.
Right?
The tea leaves is this, man. Bye-bye. NCAA, You've been getting money for so long.
Is it money or shmoney?
Shmoney.
Okay.
The new shmoney will not come to your hands. Be forfeited. By the way, you guys are finished. Y'all got 5 years. When you getting $100 million, they just gonna say this. Well, listen, it's big time. Hey, if you want to play big time ball, we just gonna sign a deal. We'll do our college football playoff between these conference schools, and then they just gonna start paying people. It is what it is.
You know what's laughable?
This is what it is.
Think about this, guys. You got guys like Nick Saban whining about NIL money that most players are not making that much on. Some big guys are.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a small percentage of players.
Right. It's a small percentage. And yet, look at the money these schools are making. And we are headed, as you said, NCAA done. Sure. It looks like it's going to be 2 super conferences. You're going to see Clemson probably I would assume, go to the SEC at some point. You're going to see maybe the Big Ten takes in Washington State, get the Seattle market. I don't know.
What I think is going to happen,
there might be 20-plus teams in those 2 conferences.
And the product will be better.
Oh, no
I'm
doubt.
curious, Brad, to get your thought on this, because as I'm thinking how this shakes out for the others in the SEC and the Big Ten, and I'll explain who the others are. Now, I know Rutgers and Maryland bring the D.C. and the New York market, and that's huge for the contract. Yeah. Northwestern, let's face it, Chicago's not a Northwestern. Chicago's all in on Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know how much Northwestern brings to the party because they have the Chicago market. If you get rid of Northwestern and bring Notre Dame in, now you've got the team in the number 3 market, and both teams in the number 2 market. Rutgers in New York, again, it doesn't move the needle a lot.
In New York, but
what I'm thinking is that the Big Ten will ultimately restructure this way. They'll look at Illinois. They'll look at Iowa. They'll look at, I think Wisconsin gets a pass because they do compete. Probably Purdue and Indiana. And I think what they'll do is start cherry picking other power schools from the also-rans, the ACC. So if you get Clemson to join the Big Ten and you lose Illinois, is that a loss?
I'll tell you something. It might be a good addition.
Oregon.
I know they're not a good football program.
Oregon's already
They're
talking
not a good
about
football
moving.
program, but there are more people in New York City that care about Syracuse than Rutgers.
So first of all, nobody wants Syracuse. Let's be clear.
I don't think they do.
Commissioner OG says.
Let's clear.
More people in New York care about Syracuse than
Yeah,
Rutgers.
but nobody else cares. They're not.
You said the New York market.
Stay in the Syracuse Dome. Nobody cares, right? There's nobody who's going.
Nobody cares about
No,
Rutgers.
even basketball, they don't care.
Brad,
They don't.
Brad, nobody cares about Rutgers
No,
either.
but here.
Syracuse is bigger than Rutgers.
Syracuse hasn't moved the needle in football.
But it would move it more than Rutgers.
But I will say this.
I don't know.
The Big Ten is the Big Ten is big on tradition. They're not getting rid of Northwestern.
Big on tradition.
They're not getting rid of Illinois. They're
No,
not.
the tradition's out the window.
They may be. No, I'm just saying the core group of schools, right? They may be the Big 20. Now, what the Big Ten has proven to be over time is, especially recently, because before they weren't like this.
But
they're creative now.
Bush makes the point, though, that the NCAA is done and that there's going to be one big tier of football.
Yeah.
I think that big tier, has to consist of teams that can legitimately compete. So Florida State, because if they're looking at the ACC and the landscape there, they're like, we got to go. We got to get out soon.
Gotta get this
they
money.
would likely go to the SEC. Clemson would likely go to the SEC. It's almost like it's an arms race, and you're starting to gather up. So I think what the Big Ten and the SEC are looking at now is the other traditional powers in the ACC, the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC, and they're going to start bringing those schools to those 2 conferences.
You're correct. You're correct that this is where the game is going. We're done with traditional conferences here. That's done. Well, let me tell you where we're going. They're going where the money is, right? The money is not in the SEC. That's not where the money is. The money's in
their
those
television deals massive.
But here, the addition of LA to this market has changed it. And you tell me that Minnesota's going to walk away with $100 million, right? For Minnesota, which will take care of their whole entire athletic budget and program and schooling and everything.
I'm not saying they voluntarily.
They're going to kick them out.
The Big Ten now becomes selective because I think it's going this way, Jay. I think that if I'm a university and I see the money that's being floated around here,
Clemson.
and so now I'm like, I want to get in on that.
Yes, of course.
Right? That's what I want in on, right? So quietly what we do, G, let me pick up the phone. What you think about taking us? It's like when I transferred back to Ohio State. I had my mama call Ohio State. He's like, you think my son can come home? And they were like, in 2 seconds.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me tell you how to do it.
So there will be interest from these
But
other
I agree with
teams.
you.
But
I think the Big Ten should kick out some of those schools.
well, the
We don't
Big
need
Ten's
them.
going to say we just cut a check for $100 million to Northwestern, and they don't move the TV dial at all.
Nobody cares about Rutgers. Nobody cares about Indiana.
Well, I tell you, the reason Rutgers and Maryland, I think, are safe is because it was a brilliant move by the Big Ten to bring them in the first place. They didn't bring them in because they could have gone and tried to steal teams with more power, maybe even make a play to get Notre Dame. It's all about the TV households because even if they're not watching, when the Big Ten does its TV deal, they go to advertisers and say, we're delivering to you the number one market, the number two
I know
market,
it's a pointless
the number
argument,
three
but more people care about Syracuse.
Let
than
me tell you
Rutgers in
something.
New York.
Maryland has a huge following in Maryland, and then Maryland's men's basketball is always near the tip top. Maryland's women's basketball is tip top running around
and so
here.
is Rutgers.
And so
Rutgers
you
women have a
sit
power.
here, and if you keep your eye on Maryland football, they're coming.
Yeah,
they are coming.
Kick out Rutgers.
What you got?
I still think you've got teams that like Clemson and Florida State. These teams that are stuck now. And if you're Clemson, or if you're Oregon, imagine if you're Oregon, you wake up today, you're looking around going, "What just happened?"
Well, what about this? What about the Purdue's? You're like, well, because now you're talking about value adding. What value are you bringing?
What
to
about
the group
Arizona?
To Purdue, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota.
What about Arizona? Phoenix is an up-and-coming market. That's a
It
big
is.
market.
It's a
What about
growing and emerging.
What about
TV
PCC
market.
airfoils?
PCC airfoils. Let's get it going.
We got to get to the PCC airfoils, love, because the internet was hot about this topic, and these are going to make you laugh, I promise. But before we read you some of the internet reactions to the Big Ten expansion, let's tell you about our favorites over at PCC Airfoils. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Now, we always go through and search for the best internet comments around. I laughed harder picking these three than I have in a long time. So, Steve, let's take the first one here. How about USC and UCLA showing up to the Big Ten?
I remember that.
That's nice.
I remember
that's
that
nice.
game. That's wow.
That's good.
Yeah. That's about 25 years ago.
I know. It seems like yesterday, but it has been a very long time. I don't think Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton have spoken in 20 years.
Are they still alive?
Disappeared.
Are they
Out of
still
here.
alive?
All right, Steve, let's cut to the next one. Is Lincoln Riley college football's Kyrie Irving? This is now two schools.
He's done a lot of bouncing.
And last but not least, UCLA fans waking up at 9 a.m. to watch their team lose to Ohio State by 63 points.
Yeah, that could.
Let me hear.
Look at the smoke hanging from the.
Let me say this because I want to say this and Anthony, get this. I'm gonna need you give me a clip on this. 'Cause I'm about to send this to somebody. You know, everybody in LA or the UCLA and USC, they're not happy about coming to the Big Ten. They're not. The people that played there, they're not happy about coming here because they feel like it's out of alignment. So I sent a message to someone. So a friend of mine, Eric Ball, who used to be the Bengals running back, right? Down in Cincinnati, from Michigan guy, went to UCLA and played football there. He's not happy.
No.
And I sent a message to Eric and said, don't worry, it's okay. Right? This is where this is going. Welcome back to the Big Ten because we only do one thing, big.
That's
right?
it.
Big.
Big
right?
is it. Big's
Right.
the
And
key
UCLA and USC saw that writing on the wall and said, this is the way this is trending. And so the normal way that we were doing things has been shifted. NIL money, the way that we're paying people, it's out the window. It's a whole new landscape here.
Yeah, everything.
Kick out Iowa, Indy. Kick them out! Don't share the money with those bastards.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the strength of the Big Ten if Iowa, Indiana, Illinois were gone, and you bring in Florida State, Clemson, and Oregon?
But the Big Ten purists would be mad.
Listen, the purists are
the purists to shut up.
They're
Who cares
taking a
about
nap
that?
right now. The purists want the Big Ten champ and the Pac-10 champ to play in the
Purists are on life support. Screw the Rose Bowl.
They don't want that. Yeah, the purists want that.
You need
But
some built-in
I want to
wins.
see it in the regular season.
As long as we don't get rid of the Midas Bowl.
Here, let me tell you,
as long as that's still around, everybody's
Let me tell you this.
good.
Cheyenne Seller's mother was like this yesterday. She was like, UCLA, USC, 2024. Oh, let me book my flight. I'm going to LA.
That's exactly right. It's a great road trip.
It's a great
let's
road
bring
trip.
in Leroy Horn. Leroy, now you get to use. Now you could possibly lose to Ohio State, USC, and UCLA all in the same year. What a world we're living in today.
You know what? this is what college football has become.
Yes.
I do believe, and I said this years ago when they all started all this realignment, that there's only going to be 4 conferences.
Might be
and
2.
they're going to be giant conferences. And what you have to understand is eventually those conferences are going to go into divisions, and the winners of those divisions are essentially going to become the college playoff.
Yep, that's where we are.
Okay? And here's what it seems like these conferences are doing. They're doing everything they can to avoid having the NCAA screw it up. Right?
What do you mean? You mean they're taking it out of their hands?
Right. So when you have a lot of these schools that, for example, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 got to be tired of having 2 SEC teams in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't, like, we're a Power 5 conference too. We need to have a representative. So how do you do that? How do you make yourself relevant? You join together. Okay? And the way you do it is that, hey, we may not get to that Final Four, but we bring in some heat before it ends.
Smoke.
We got action. And so all these schools are starting to realize, like, you think Texas A&M and Texas got a chance in the SEC? No. But they went from being irrelevant to being relevant in one signature. So a lot of these schools are starting to do this. I'm one of those people that, as long as I've been alive, there's something to be said about the Big Ten playing the Pac-12 in a Rose Bowl. Now, years ago, when they got away from that, then I had to get over it. Right? When they started doing that, I had to get over it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the traditions are all out the way. I just think about all the years I was on the radio screaming about it's ridiculous that the players can't make money, and I would get all these people calling me. Oh, let's face it, all these old white guys calling me, saying, it's amateur sports, it's amateur sport. Shut the amateur sports. The Big Ten schools are going to make $100 million per year with their new TV contract. This is amateur nothing. It's crazy. I love it. I don't care. Let them make money. Let the players make money. Let everybody make money.
Here's what used to kill me about the NCAA.
Yeah.
Right? And here's where I started having a big problem. Because before I went to Michigan, I had no idea what was going on. I just wanted to play at Michigan. I wanted to play college football. Okay? When I got to Michigan, we had a guy, Greg McMurtry, in the offseason, would go play baseball and get paid.
Yeah.
Right? And that was okay. Do you remember the return guy for Colorado?
Yep.
He was a skateboarder.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
They deemed him ineligible because he was taking money to train. It's from that point on where I just lost all faith. It made no sense.
Sideways.
Right.
Right. It made no sense how I could play with a guy that was rolling around because he got a big signing bonus, laughing at us with nickels in our pocket. And then you have another guy who everybody knows how the Olympics works.
Yeah.
They can't train without this money. They made him ineligible.
Leroy.
How is that possible?
Leroy, it's like, Leroy, I take you back. We back there starving. They eating good over there, right? And so then it's just nonsensical, some of the stuff that was going on. But I ask you this, Leroy, because they brought it up on set here. Do you think Iowa, the Purdue's, the Indiana survive this next wave? Are they going to be in the Big Ten still?
Yes. Here's why. You're just looking at the football aspect of it. What about Indiana basketball?
No, it's not what it used to be.
Iowa basketball. Purdue basketball. At one point, Purdue was what, number 2 in the country?
Yeah,
so you going to kick that out? Because they suck at football?
Yeah, but Indiana, well, football is the driver behind all of this. Let's face it.
Okay.
Basketball helps too, but Indiana isn't what it used to be in basketball. They haven't been for a decade.
My thing is,
neither was Michigan 5 years ago.
Maybe they should let Bob.
Maybe Michigan should go.
Maybe they should bring Bobby.
Hold
Yeah.
They didn't kick y'all out with the John Cooper years. Don't sit here and start talking about now you on top.
Leroy, quiet. Hold that down, baby. Hold that down.
They got to bring Bobby Knight back to choke the players again. Maybe they'll start winning.
Listen, you got to understand something, man. The reason why your Iowa stay there, the reason why those teams stay there is you got to understand there's a lot of states in this. The reason why football is so popular, because in some states, that's all they have.
Iowa's got nothing. It's a useless state.
Iowa, it's Hawkeyes. That's all we got. You don't get rid of that type of tradition.
Well, the reason, though, here's why they couldn't. And hear me out on this, Leroy, and then I want your reaction to it. It's about how many marquee matchups you can put together on a Saturday afternoon. So, for instance, in the NFL, we can only watch that one big game at 4 o'clock. It's the national game at 4 o'clock, and that's it. But what we have in college football is you could have 6 marquee games going on at the same time. You've got ABC, NBC, CBS, ESPN, ESPN2,
Fox.
All of these different outlets. So if the Big Ten, imagine this, the Big Ten runs on its slate of games for this week. Ohio State, Michigan, USC, UCLA, Florida State, Clemson. The Iowas and the Indianas and the Illinois do not move the needle nationally. They just don't. But all of these blue chip programs that I mentioned do. If you can put together 6 marquee games in one conference on a weekend,
Oregon.
I'll go as far as to tell you that now you have something that is financially worth more than the NFL is to TV contracts. Because the NFL can't roll out 6 marquee 1 o'clock games. There's 32 teams.
Right.
You got 3 or 4 great games every weekend. If you have a conference that is filled with all blue chip cornerstone programs, you can put together 6 marquee matchups in a weekend. Your overall number will probably eclipse the overall NFL viewership with one conference. That is stunning.
But you
can also put Iowa against Purdue on the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, and you're going to get about 1 million viewers.
Hey, I'm not going to let you say if you playing on ESPN2, that's a premier game.
No, but if Florida State Clemson is on ESPN2, you're going to get 6 million viewers.
Wait a minute. They're not going to put Florida State Clemson on ESPN2.
Listen, if Michigan and Ohio State are playing on ABC and USC and UCLA are playing on ESPN, that leaves ESPN2 for Florida State Clemson. But it doesn't matter the platform.
What about ABC?
What?
What about the Ocho?
ABC has USC or Ohio State, Michigan. ESPN has USC, UCLA, or that's a night game, and it's the night game on ABC. But you can still put together 3 other marquee matchups in the afternoon.
Kick out Michigan State too. Get them out.
This is why. This is why
State gone.
This is why NBC is coming out of this Notre Dame contract, because there are going to be more games for more money.
That's exactly why they're coming out
that contract.
And guess what? The other thing is, it's Notre Dame. You ain't that team.
No, you're not.
Like, you ain't that team to be
where
making
do they land, Leroy? What conference do they land up in?
I think that, if anything, they don't want that Big Ten smoke.
Yeah, they don't want that smoke.
They don't want that
They don't want that smoke.
They don't want that SEC smoke.
Yeah, but
they're
going
to find a nice cushy landing in the ACC.
Yeah, then go ahead and be irrelevant, because the ACC is the next to get picked off, and it's going to be Florida State and Clemson. I mean, we saw it with the Pac-12. We saw it with the Big 12 with Oklahoma and Texas. Now you're looking for big targets if you're the Big 10 and the SEC. And the 2 big dogs, in my view, that are left, Oregon, I think, in the Pac-12 is still relevant. But I think you're looking at Florida State and Clemson from the ACC. I hate to say this, but the ACC is irrelevant. Because those 2 are going to be gone soon. And the question is, the big 3 pieces that are out there are Florida State, Clemson, and Notre Dame.
Especially when they see everybody.
Those are all
Would you want to get North Carolina
What are you
going
to do about Miami?
I mean,
yeah, I would.
What are you going to do about Miami?
I don't know. What are you going to do with Miami?
I'd argue this.
Not MAC at Miami.
Not Florida State.
The MAC.
No. Florida State is not in the game like that. I think Florida State is traditionally a good school, but if you tell me this, I'd rather have Washington and Stanford over Florida State.
That's a terrible take.
You have lost your mind.
Washington.
So you telling me? Wait, you telling me you rather watch a football game on ESPN or ABC that has Stanford and Washington over Florida State and Clemson?
Look, I can't.
Hold on.
I
Hold
cannot.
Oh my goodness! Hey,
San Francisco is the 4th major market in the
can't.
country.
Well, see.
You got the Seattle.
So what?
Good for
Hey, and by the way, Florida State,
Look,
what have they
look,
done in the
look,
last?
look, good.
And let's keep it real. I don't give a rat's ass about any of these
Look,
games.
good for the
It's
rice.
boring.
Good for the rice-a-roni people.
You're from
right?
the Northeast.
Look,
I know.
I'm gonna tell you this. You're good for the rice-a-roni people. Nobody watching that. There's nobody watching.
Florida State ain't been good in 7 years.
That's true.
but
All
they
right,
still
let's move it
drunk.
to the Browns.
Yeah.
Let's move it to the Browns because we could swing
Leroy,
on
have
this
you
merry-go-round all day long.
Have you seen all the quotes from Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, on the hearings and what he said about the Watson stuff? Did you see that?
I haven't, but I have a feeling that this is going to go around and around and around.
Yeah, take a look.
And
Take a look at these,
and-
Leroy, for a minute. I want you to see, especially number 2. The NFL intervened 12 alleged victims, or interviewed 12 alleged victims. The hearing focused on 5 of the women making allegations against Watson. Here's number 2. The case presented by the NFL included no evidence of violence, threat, force, or coercion by Deshaun Watson. NFL admitted punishment it seeks, indefinite suspension, at least 1 year, is unprecedented. And finally, the NFL admitted no penalties at all for Robert Kraft. After reading all that, I feel like Browns fans have to be the most optimistic they've been about him playing a significant portion of the season. Do you feel the same way?
yes, because you have to understand that a lot of these charges were centered around that, right? And so if they didn't find anything, or they said their case didn't present any of these aspects of the case, then how are they going to penalize him for the issues that could be the most extreme?
Leroy, the big asterisk that we have to address here is that obviously this leak came from the NFLPA. So the NFL did not leak anything after the hearing concluded yesterday. So
Right.
the only caveat is that would be like talking to a family member of a defendant of how he saw the trial.
Right.
So you got to be very careful with how you digest that information.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I'm scared of, and we should all be scared of, is that this is gonna go to appeal, and the guy who's going to be making the final decision is Roger Goodell.
Yeah. That's
the
hammer.
We wasted a whole bunch of time and money and effort to get to the same point that we've all been trying to avoid for the last 3 years. So this is the issue. You have an arbitrator, a judge who knows the ins and outs of this, right? Who understands how these proceedings go, who understand two parties putting cases together and being able to come up with a punishment or lack thereof. And it's still going to end up back in the hands of the guy that we don't want to have that power.
Leroy, did the NFLPA make a major mistake by agreeing to what is essentially non-binding arbitration? That's what this is.
Yeah.
And they still left the hammer in the hand of the guy they wanted to get it out of. I just feel that was a major misstep by the union.
Sometimes you agree to things and you'll say it's never. For example, if I borrow $100 from you and you say, all right, you said you're going to pay me in 2 weeks. If you don't pay me in 2 weeks, then it becomes $300. Well, that's ridiculous. But I agree to it because I'm probably going to pay you back before then. But then something comes up.
Yeah.
And now I got to pay that extra money. So I think this is where this situation kind of went, that you're making, you're negotiating these things and you want to get any of the power out of Roger Goodell's hands and get it into somebody's hands who is who's
a neutral,
who's gonna be fair in
A
these
neutral
situations. Right.
But ultimately,
and then it
they
ends up
decided
back
to give
where
it
you
back
don't
to
want
Goodell.
it. Right. I don't know how it ended up that way. I'm just merely trying to make educated guess, and I might be the only one, right? Because none of these situations that are presented, or none of these situations where the NFL penalizes the player, has anything to do with guilt or innocence. Think about living in that world.
God,
You think
no,
we
that's
can walk
horrible.
on the face of this earth where you are penalized not on whether you're innocent or guilty, but how it makes you look?
That's crazy.
That's exactly where we are, Leroy. That's
That's
wonderful
where
way
we
of
are in
putting it.
football. And so, like I said before, I love playing in the NFL. I have a lot to be thankful for playing in the NFL. The only regret that I have in life is that I spent 10, 11 years of my life and I was unable to be a man.
What do you mean?
That means that the NFL hamstrung me from situations where there's people that came in contact with me who felt empowered because they knew I couldn't do nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Do you have an example of that?
Can you give us an example?
Well, it just
Yeah.
so I'll say this. For example, if after a game I walk to my car, somebody could yell something, somebody could throw something, right? And I couldn't go back and deal with that man or whoever it is like a man. I had to keep it moving. And that empowers people to continue to do things like that.
That's very true.
Now, if you in a crowd and somebody throw a beer at you and you knock him out, you know what everybody around him gonna say? You shouldn't have threw that beer.
That's right.
But they gonna say to me, I should know better, which means I can't be a man. Because that dude supposed to get knocked out. So understand this, and it's worse now, because soon as that guy throw a beer, all of his friends gonna record in hopes that you knock his ass out, so they could have video evidence.
And Leroy, let me ask you this. I watched the way some people handle the Robert Kraft situation, and it's on tape. People are laughing and joking. They're laughing and joking like, "Oh, he got caught doing this." But you go to Deshaun Watson, and it's.
Let me ask you a quick question. What gives a worse look to the Shield? A whole bunch of accusations that haven't been proven in court, right? Or an owner flying down before a game
You better talk.
Yeah.
on all fours, getting his undercarriage clean. Now, I'm gonna tell you like this.
Talk to
I'm
him.
gonna tell you like this. There's a difference between being accused
And on tape.
and having factual evidence to what was going on.
Wait a second. Leroy, you're right. And I need us all, everybody, please, Leroy, you included. Can everybody just close their eyes for a moment? Everybody close their eyes.
No, I'm not going to picture Robert
Please.
Kraft's undercarriage.
I want everybody. Imagine you were the woman.
Full stop.
Think what's going through that woman's head.
I can't unsee that.
I got a clean Robert Kraft. He's fat like me. He's got things drooping in inappropriate places. He's got the liver spots up and down his ass.
Can we throw color bars and tone real quick? I don't like where Bull's going.
Come on now.
7 Broadway take.
Hey, but
That's why
like,
the
look,
tape was thrown out of evidence.
There it is.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Wait. All right. We talked about Deshaun Watson enough. Leroy, here's the important question. You went to, what was the name of your high school again? I forgot the name of your high school.
St. Augustine.
Okay.
So I went to the same school as Honey Badger.
Yeah.
I went to the same school as Leonard Fournette.
Right.
And I went to the same school as Apollo Creed.
That's exactly. Forget the football players. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis played there as well.
Yep.
But forget about the players. That's what I want to ask you about. Apollo Creed went to your school. Do you know him? Are you friends with him? What can you tell us about Apollo Creed?
I mean,
All weathers.
first of all, he's about 20 years older than me.
No, I don't. I know you.
Which,
No, I know that. Wait a second.
Which means, so, huh?
No, I didn't think you would. I know he's older than you, but like
Right.
you went to the same high school. You're both famous. I thought maybe you knew him somewhere along the line.
No.
Okay.
He living that good life in L.A. But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing you need to understand.
Yeah.
My high school is 1 square block.
Ooh, wow.
That includes a gym and a music room. We had about 30 classrooms. From 8th grade to 12th grade, there was about 600 or 700 kids.
Ooh. Yeah.
All boy, mostly black, Catholic school.
Right.
So that's what you're dealing with. So when you think of all these players, and our school is more known for its band than our football team.
Okay.
So, for example, guess who else I went to school with?
This is crazy.
Avery Johnson.
You went with Avery?
Yeah.
You went to school with Avery?
Avery's my team.
basketball
Avery's my team
He's
in
got the
Seattle.
best voice
That's
ever.
my
it's
team.
He's
awesome.
one of the few people. He's one of the few people that I know from New Orleans
Yeah.
that never got rid of the accent.
Nope. Love it.
Never.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad,
awesome.
Brad, we about to get traded to Charlotte. I don't know about you, Avery.
Right.
Well, I'm trying to get the heck up out of here.
Right. But
Gotta go.
so I'm extremely proud of the fact that it was so few, or the school was so small. When you think of a school like, for example, John Curtis is a big school in Louisiana, right? They got 3,500 kids, right? We have 700. We're in the same.
Were you recruited to go to school there, though?
No, I actually went to another school, and
That
in
fed
case in
that.
point, why I would have never. I went to Holy Cross, my 9th grade year, and
Okay.
it was probably the worst year of my life. Right? I just didn't fit in, right? And I swore to that day I would never go to Notre Dame because I think they were run by the Jesuits also,
Right.
right? So I was like, nope, not doing it.
Give me Michigan. Give me death.
Yeah, I tell you what, I signed late too.
I remember you
Because
told me you
I
did.
always, as a kid, I always wanted to go to Michigan. Always.
Why, the helmet?
I don't. You know why? Here's why. As a kid, you know, if you're older, you know this is what happened on New Year's Day,
Yeah.
right? You got the Cotton Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and I think like one more,
The Orange Bowl.
right? And then bowl season was over. And so if you were one of those elite schools that got to play in these games, you were like, everybody saw you because that was it.
Right.
I wanted to play in one of these games. I would have loved to play in the Superdome. Part of the problem is I could never figure out who the hell was playing in the Sugar Bowl. But guess what? I knew who was playing in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Winner of the Pac-12, winner of the Big Ten.
Were you recruited by LSU?
Was I? Oh my goodness. In all fairness to all parties involved, I'm gonna be
Politically correct.
I don't want nobody to get in trouble.
Right.
But I'm gonna say
They
this.
paid you.
No, I didn't go there.
Well, it doesn't mean they wouldn't have thrown some money your way.
I was scared that I was gonna be the snitch, and I ain't quiet, and I knew something was gonna slip out or something. So I'm like, oh no, I can't go there. I'm gonna ruin the whole university. I gotta get the hell up out of here. Plus, as a kid who never traveled, the farthest I ever been, I flew on a plane one time. That was to Florida, right? I had never been anywhere, where like around the country. So I always went to college with this thought. If this is the last 4 years of my football career, I'm going to have some fun.
You ain't had
That was it. I didn't know I wouldn't.
What
I
kind
didn't
of
have
fun you have in
plans
Ann
'cause
Arbor?
everybody- Huh?
What kind of
You
fun-
should have
what
gone
kind
to
of
UCLA.
Hold on. What kind of fun you have in Ann Arbor? Ain't nothing going on up there.
Sure there is.
It's close to Canada.
Sure there is.
And anybody
And-
knows
and-
what I'm talking
and-
about.
I guess
Leroy,
unless
you going
And everybody's smart.
unless you
everybody's smart,
running to Lansing 45 minutes
You
away.
were you going to strip clubs in Canada?
He was going to Windsor.
No, he was going to
Windsor?
Lansing.
We're going to Windsor.
Told you.
We definitely go to Windsor because you hit the other side of that tunnel, and all of a sudden you went from underage drinker to be able to get your drink on. Right?
I went to Bowling Green.
There you go.
We made that trip to Windsor many times.
Leroy, here's the most important question. Forget all this nonsense. Here's the most important question. You talk about drinking. You retired from the NFL in 1999. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you ever in a bar or a club in 1999 and you're dancing, maybe hooking up with a lady? I don't know what you do. I don't even know if you were married at the time. I'm not sure. Or not.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know your marital status. So I apologize for that. Were you ever in a club doing that and then all of a sudden Prince, tonight we're going to party like it's 1999 comes on and you are grooving to that song just like me? I mean, I'm the best dancer in this studio.
No. Hey, man.
I'm trying to
Stop it.
First of all,
Stop
I was
that
living
right
it.
now.
Whoa,
Come on, dude. I give you a little
whoa.
white man's overbite here.
Please
Camera up.
stop.
Get the camera up. I got to do a little white man's over. Not my belly.
Hey.
My face. You can't see the white man's overbite.
Bull, you're setting us back 50 years. Stop it.
Have you ever?
Hey.
Did you ever get down to that song? Tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999.
Look like
Did you?
First of all,
Yeah.
Look like
I
a
lived
Michigan
in
man.
Miami.
You lived in Miami. Okay.
I lived in Miami at the time,
Yeah.
and clubs wasn't playing that. And then secondly, people wasn't dancing like that. I don't know what club you did where nobody was there. You look at it. Hey, next thing you know, you go do the sprinkler.
Here we go. I'll give you one of these.
Hey, man. See, this is what I'm talking about.
There we go.
Hey, white people be messing stuff up, man.
Hey, not all of us.
Wait a second.
First of all,
Leroy, you
We
said
disavow. Me and Jay disavow.
Leroy,
Can
you
I
said
ask a question?
I need a drink.
Leroy, you said you had like 15 white kids in your high school.
These
Maybe
guys.
they were dancing that way.
Get your people.
why?
Get your
Can I ask
Trying
a
to keep them under
question?
control.
Why does a song become a hit 10 years after it's died?
Because Prince was the man.
Hey,
Hey,
Leroy,
I tell you
Leroy,
what.
said,
Guess
get your
what?
people.
When I was in Minnesota, Target's headquarters are there,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I mean, Minnesota, for what you think, they got Target, Best Buy, it's 3M. It's a massive place for companies.
Yes, it is.
So they invited us to a game to when Kevin Garnett was in
at Target
Minnesota.
Center.
Yep, we go to Target Center. We get into the suite. Guess who's in the suite?
Prince.
Tiger Woods and Prince.
Yep.
No way.
And Prince might have been the single-handed coolest dude you ever met in
The
this life.
coolest dude in the
Coolest.
place.
No, I've heard that.
And I
Without
told
trying
him,
to be cool.
without trying to be. And I told him, I said, I'm a little intimidated. He said, why? I said, because I'm 6 foot, you 5 foot, whatever, and your voice is like you 7 foot tall. What's up? You're like, he got that deep. He got that deep voice. I'm like, goodness. So he was a cool dude. Tiger was, young at the time. He had just like really started getting, the big money. But it was cool, man. It was one of those perks about being in Minnesota.
I want more stories about Tiger and Prince the next time you come on.
Yeah.
Have a great 4th of July
need that.
weekend, Leroy.
Hey,
Leroy.
y'all almost caused me not being able to get my meat for 4th of July.
What happened? How do we cause
down
you to
here
meet?
in Florida, you got to go early on Friday.
Yeah,
You're
you
going
do.
to miss out. They just barely had a couple of ribs left. I had to pick through the scraps.
You gonna do a dry rub? You do a dry rub, or you do a Louisiana, Memphis? How you do it?
Let me tell you, I put a little brown sugar.
Yeah.
It's a little sweet and spicy. I got some red peppers. I put some peppers on there. I got all kinds of stuff on
What
there.
time should we be
Then
there?
I
Yeah, we
put it on there the
invited.
night
Can we
before.
come down?
You smoking them puppies?
Hey, well, what I do is I put them on a grill, smoke them
Brown's
for
Plains.
like at 250 for like 2 hours.
Right.
Take them off, wrap it in foil.
Yep.
Give it a little
Yep.
apple juice. Put it back in for 2 hours. Take it out. You got to be gentle because they so tender. They just fall off the bone. You got to get them back on the grill. Put your sauce on it.
We'll be over on Sunday.
Hey,
Are the Browns
most
at the
important thing
Dolphins
for
this
anybody
year?
cooking
What's
ribs.
going on?
The most important thing for anybody cooking ribs, take that back sheath off the back of the ribs.
Yeah, you're right.
You take that off and you cook them slow, you're gonna have tender ribs. For some reason,
you
that
can
little
tell he's
back,
from the South.
that membrane on the back, it make your ribs chewy, even if you cook them for 8 hours.
Can't get good ribs in Cleveland. It's driving me crazy. I can't get any good ribs.
You can. You know when you can get good ribs in Cleveland?
Where?
When I'm there.
We weren't even going to be here. I need some ribs. We gotta go. By the way, November 13th, Browns in Miami. We need to be there. Get the budget.
Are y'all coming down?
I'd hope so. I doubt it.
Come on down.
Steve.
I want to go. Steve, we need the money. I gotta go see Leroy.
Bull is gonna have a dance-a-thon, and
Yes.
we should be able to raise like $5-6 from that.
Millions.
Hey, keep Bull away from TikTok.
Or get him on TikTok.
You might get to.
There you go.
Bull,
Get your people.
stop.
Go ahead,
Leroy,
get
we love you. Have a great 4th of July weekend.
your
Be
people.
safe.
Get your
You
peep,
too.
man.
Everybody
be safe.
Jay, that's on you,
Alrighty.
man. That's on your
No,
seat.
it's not.
my
It's
God.
not on me.
That got to be.
Hey,
Don't be
Hey.
a hater.
I got a
Don't be
son
a
that
hater.
jumps 27 feet. He didn't get that from mama.
Don't be a hater.
Hey, I'll just keep.
Don't hate the player. Hate the game.
All right, let's do Kevin Durant talk.
Okay.
What
You
in
did
the
a Warren
hell?
Sapp face there.
What would you give up? First of all,
Yeah.
does anybody here want Kevin Durant on the
Of
Cavaliers?
course I do, even though I can't stand him. And if he goes anywhere besides the Cavs,
I don't want him.
He goes in the Baker Mayfield group of guys I'm rooting to fail the rest of their careers.
Okay.
I can't. He's my least favorite player in the NBA besides Draymond Green. I can't
Draymond's
stand
such a
him.
nice guy. I love Draymond.
I don't like him.
I hate him on the court, but he is
You like
such a
Kyrie
nice guy.
over Kevin Durant?
Yeah, Kyrie was our guy, so I still have some love for Kyrie.
You want Kevin Durant on this group of teams.
Of course, he's a
You
great
want to bring
player.
in the toxic chemical to a experiment that's going pretty
I
well,
want to win
I
a
think.
championship.
Okay.
So
Bull, you want, or Brad, you want him?
Myself, I love Kevin Durant's game. I would not bring him here. To
Right.
Cleveland,
I love
right?
his game, too,
It's just here. Kevin Durant. It's just so much going on here, and you've got a good young nucleus here. And to get Kevin Durant, you're gonna have to give up a lot to
You're
get
not
him
getting him
here.
for
Not gonna
picks.
get him for cheap.
No.
Right? And I'm not willing to blow up what they have here. I think the Cavs are one major piece away, but I don't think you can get that piece by getting it through demolition of your team to get it. I just don't think so.
And I think that's what it would take. to
They're
be
not
perfectly honest.
getting him anyway.
No,
It's
that's
not,
why I
but
think
yeah.
that
It's not. But listen, what they're gonna get, the haul that they're gonna get.
It's a haul.
They talking about with the Suns. They want Devin Booker.
Picks.
They want Bridges. They want Ayton. And they want 3
Why
number
would the
ones.
Suns do that?
that dismantles their team.
Those are the
Well,
three best players.
because the Suns have tanked, and the way they tanked, the people now are scratching their head in Phoenix are saying that we don't think this group can get it done.
Right,
That's
right.
why they want. That's
Yeah,
why
but
they're
then
Blow
who would
it
they
all
have
up
that
and
have
start
Durant
with
and
the
Well,
guy that's
basically because here
injury-prone.
you've got Chris Paul who's closer to the end than the beginning.
Yep.
So is Durant.
Their window is small.
Oh, you'd have Paul,
right?
yeah.
Right.
but-
Their window is small. And at some point, here, I'll take you back to the Cavaliers when they had Doherty, Nance, Hot Rod, Ron Harper. We beat them in that
Price.
first game
round
of the first
series.
round series, and they blew up the button, right?
Yeah, they
And
did.
They didn't need to blow up the button. And Phoenix, I feel like, is at that point where we need to blow the button up because what we have here, it's not that they lost, it's how they lost,
it was bad.
right?
But after seeing what Atlanta did and what they had to give, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to get Kevin Durant for picks, but to me, it's counterproductive to bring in a Kevin Durant if
give
you're
him
going
your
to
three best young
dismantle the
players,
core
yeah.
of your team. Like,
That
to
doesn't
me,
make sense.
Allen is absolutely off limits. Mobley is off limits. I
People
don't-
get desperate. I feel like the Suns feel like they're
Hold
desperate.
on, hold on,
Right?
hold
and then,
on.
And then you have a guy like Barkley killing them all the time, talking about because
Go
now
ahead, G.
Eddie Johnson, he's killing them all the time. They're Phoenix guys.
I like Jared Allen, but if you telling me there's 2 untouchables for me, 2,
Okay.
Mobley and Garland. That's it.
You're right. I love Jared Allen, but if I
But if I can
if
get
I had to
Kevin
trade
Durant,
Allen, Sexton, Okoro, and every
You're not
draft pick I
going
own,
to
not
get.
getting him for that.
You're not
Right,
getting
you're right,
Durant
that's what I'm
for
saying,
that.
when I
You're
can
going to
get-
have to take
We ain't
2
gonna get that.
other
I'm saying
big
in
free
theory I
pieces.
would do it.
we ain't gonna get
Yeah,
that.
in
well,
theory, but-
I want a pony for Christmas. I'm not going to get one.
Well, you could afford it.
How about
Well, I'm not getting
about
one.
a
Chip it in. We are going to chip in and get him a pony.
Hey, listen.
We want
I don't really want a
You
pony.
have to feed it. You have to house it.
I don't want a
we
pony.
want a 50-footer with 2 bedrooms, right? Two estates on the boat.
And we'll give you 2 dinghies and the right to my boat
Hey,
slip.
these guys, man. Yeah, listen, man. I'm just listening. I'll tell you what, Jason Lloyd. Listen, he run around here scared, right? He tomorrow. I don't want to tell you what I got. You let me get a Mercedes Benz. You gonna know when I come up here.
You're gonna brag about it.
Hey, take yourself outside. Let me show you what I just.
You're
gonna
get the Mercedes emblem and
right
wear it as
here,
a necklace.
chain right here next to a panda chain. Y'all catch crazy. I had a boat in here and everything, bro. I'll let you know when I get the bag. You'll be the first to know.
Hey, as hard as you worked, scream it from the mountaintops, brother.
My wife was screaming from the mountaintops. You ain't spending that amount.
What are you paying me for dance lessons?
Let's get back to this point. The other thing is this: you're going to really find out what your value is here, right? And I'm not clear that a bunch of people in this league are going to give a bunch of things to get Kevin Durant.
You mean Durant's going to find out.
Right. Yes, they are going to find out. They all find out.
Kyrie just found out. Nobody wanted him.
Is Durant damaged in the fact that, I mean, you got to play, number one, and you got to be able to play the whole season.
Well, I think he's damaged from a couple of things, right? He seems to everywhere he's going, it doesn't seem to materialize.
Yeah, it doesn't work out.
The other damage is I think he does more damage to himself through social media than anything else because
Big time.
his snarkiness.
He should kill all of his accounts.
His snarkiness, right?
Does that matter?
Yeah, it does matter because
it's petty.
Right, and
Petty Durant.
Petty Durant.
And the petty.
He's going back and forth with Stephen
people.
A. Smith on Twitter. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
When you do that, you come right down to the gutter.
Well, and it also signifies like, are you strong enough to even get us over the hump
That's
here?
why I look at it from a mental makeup standpoint. If you're getting rocked by things you're seeing on social, Kevin Durant, you're in the wrong game.
Your guy Baker Mayfield gets rocked by social.
I know he does, and I hate that about him.
See, I slid that
Not
in.
my guy.
By the way,
I don't know, he's tagged me as,
I saw Brian Windhurst said something the other day,
Yeah.
and this hit me tough. He said, theoretically, the Los Angeles Lakers could get Durant and Kyrie.
Absolutely. I think that's what's going to happen.
And he said, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, move them out. There's not that many other people. Would you do a Westbrook, Anthony Davis, get Kyrie and Durant?
You hold that thought because I'm working hard next week to get my boy Isaiah Thomas on this show, right?
Okay. Nice.
And then I'm going to have Zeke answer that question for you.
I
right?
think that's what's going to happen, what he
because,
just said.
Because the old school guys, we're not doing that.
Can we ask him if Larry Bird's overrated?
No, we're not doing that because here, they had enough confidence in their own ability.
Yeah, but it's a new age.
Well, no, it's not.
The new players aren't like you guys.
But here.
They're all about teaming up to win a ring.
But let me ask you this. Speak to your ability. You have to have a massive amount of confidence to think that I can get us over the hump here. Right?
But if Durant went to Golden State.
Well, but I tell you this.
He went to the championship team already.
But who led the way? An old school dude by the name of Steph Curry who said, don't worry about that. I'm good.
Draymond came out last week and said, we don't win in 17 and 18 if KD hadn't come here.
Right.
And he's right, by the way.
Because at that point, Steph Curry wasn't the Steph Curry we see today.
I don't know. In 15 and 16, he was pretty damn good.
The mental game.
Mentally.
The mental game.
I always look at LeBron James. I always watch how LeBron do it. I watch how they do it. When Kyrie Irving said this, I knew something was up.
I'm with you.
When he said, man, I wish I wouldn't have, we could have did more. You know what he realized? He realized LeBron had the master plan. He said, we need that master plan that we had right there. I was my best when I was with him. Now, he says, all right, KD. And then the next quote that came out is, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they believe that they still want to play together. I said they done orchestrated. They sign and trade. Yep. The only way you could do it is a sign and trade. Kyrie opts in. Kevin Durant
opted in and shocked the hell out of the Nets when he opted in.
And that's because
I don't know why they were shocked because there was no market out here for him.
Well, exactly, but I still think they were blindsided by it. And to your point, I think that what a walk-off mic drop moment if LeBron teams up with Irving and KD.
It's coming.
It is an absolute up yours to Golden State, who took KD and took more rings out of LeBron's chest.
Answer me this. How are they going to do that?
I don't know. That's going to be the tricky part.
Who's going to take Russell Westbrook's contract?
I know they would take Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis is
sure, but who would take Russell Westbrook's contract?
I don't know.
I mean, that's insane.
Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing. You would have to get a third team involved.
In order for that to occur, Westbrook's got to go. Yep. Anthony Davis got to go. Yep. Right.
Honestly,
I don't want to probably get rid of Anthony Davis.
Yes.
But I don't see anybody jumping sideways to take Westbrook.
Guys, I'm sick of the Lakers. I'm sick of the Nets. I'm sick of all these old guys. I want to see all these young guys win. I'm sick of the old guys.
I loved the Bucks, what they did. because they first of all, they're in the middle of America,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to beat these super teams that have become the thing in the NBA. It's really hard. It's a players' league. Everybody agree with that? And if Irving and Durant want to be in LA,
they'll get there.
In the old days, you would say this can't happen.
And Durant's got 4 years left on his contract, and he still is going to end up going. I heard yesterday somebody say, one of the NBA guys was like, well, if Durant wants to get traded, he's going to get traded because it's the NBA. But the Nets are in a good spot because there's 4 years left, so they could trade him wherever he wants.
Do you think the Nets even want? Do you think the Nets want?
The Nets want out.
They want. I think they want to pull.
They want out.
Then why did they pick up Kyrie's contract?
Well,
that was Kyrie. My bad. That was Kyrie.
They want out. You can tell that it's a fire sale, but they're not doing a fire sale. We're ready to break off for you too. Because after the last 2 years, especially last year, hard mess. Kyrie mess, and it did just the debacle.
They were a young up-and-coming
debacle of the performance.
With
they
Jared Allen and
they went out.
And you still have the enigma of Ben Simmons sitting on the sideline with about $250,000 worth of jewelry and designer clothes on, sitting there, 6'10", all that drip, all that Balenciaga, all of them Fendi belts, all of them Prada socks. This guy's over here looking like $1 million, and he ain't played since 2006.
He had that drip though.
When he was 5.
He had that drip though.
He be looking good over there. He be looking good over there. I don't know what they're going to do.
All right.
The one thing I do think we can agree on, he ain't coming to Cleveland.
No.
I mean, I know that, we've heard some pie in the sky.
But speaking of the Cavs, Ricky Rubio.
Good move.
Yeah.
Good move. Right?
Love that.
I like that move.
Yeah.
$18 million is nothing these days.
He was a core ingredient of why the Cavaliers were playing so well. All right, so they obviously saw value in it, bringing him back into the fold. Like I said, I still believe we are one free agent away from really causing some noise here. Everybody in this league,
I agree.
Do
you think that's going to happen this? I mean, the free agency period's huge.
I don't think you're going to bring in a top-tier guy. No. You just need a guy that knows how to play, a guy that we can depend on down the stretch.
You want a veteran?
I want a veteran.
Mix in with Rubio.
I want a veteran.
Can they trade some sort of combo of Sexton, Okoro, maybe even Kevin Love?
I think those are the two pieces, by the way.
And maybe a draft pick to get that guy.
I think they can, Bull. I think that there's a play out here, and then I will tell you that everybody fears what the Cavaliers have going on. I don't want them to break off anything. I don't want them to break off Markin. I don't want them to break off Mobley. I don't want them to break off Allen and Mobley's brother. I don't want them to break off any of that. I just want one piece to come in here and solidify me down the stretch. I do. I want to play the long game. The game in the Cleveland market is not the LA game. We're not loading up with a bunch of stars. This is not that, right? And I'm not a firm believer when you load up like that means instant success.
Milwaukee won, and they didn't do it that way.
Nope.
I still think that you have a better chance if you've got 3 superstars on your roster, but it doesn't. I don't think we're in an era where you have to do that to win a ring.
Yeah.
And I think what Cleveland's doing, and it's not just us in Cleveland that love it. When I speak to the guys that are that have a global view, everybody, to your point, is saying there's something going on in Cleveland that is very, very special with this young group of players.
They need that. I agree,
they need
Brad.
that piece. And I do think that Sexton
to bring it all together.
I think those are the guys that have value to other teams.
Right.
And if you package them up for the right guy, the right piece, and I'm totally with you. I think the building block superstar piece to this project is here.
Mm-hmm.
I do, in Mobley. And I think you've got 2 really nice accessories already there. I think you need a big third accessory. I know that Love's in his last year. I still think there's value in having him here.
There is, but if I had to trade him for the money to get that guy, I would do it.
You could.
But he is a good piece on the bench.
What are you hearing on Rubio? Is it going to be December or January?
Well, it's probably the length when the injury occurs. It's probably going to be December or January, but they're not signing for November.
They need him in February.
They know they're a playoff team. It should be a playoff team, so they need him down the stretch. So they're playing a long game. And I would tell you that you talk about people and availability pieces. How about Bradley Beal going back to Washington?
I know.
Yeah, and
do you think Durant could possibly go to Washington? That's where he's from.
I don't think he wants to be anywhere near Washington or Baltimore.
You don't?
I just don't. I don't feel like he wants to go home.
He got a house in Miami. He might go to Miami.
And so I will tell you this. Somebody asked me about Bradley Beal yesterday, and I said, let me tell you something. They said, well, Bradley Beal's he doesn't want to play for a championship. I said, that's not true. Maybe Bradley Beal just like living in the DMV. Maybe he likes being in D.C. Maybe he has his family and he's planted here and he feels like this is where I want to be. So sometimes it's not about that. And he said, listen, load me up here but I'm going to give it my best in Washington, and I don't think you should be taking shots at him because he didn't decide to go to L.A. or anything.
It's so funny. We kill players when they leave their local market because they're being greedy,
right.
And then we're going to kill him because he's staying in town.
I like. Sometimes you may
have it both ways.
Sometimes you may like just where you are.
And you know what? Hey, just do the new.
I think Rubio.
The new
felt
wave.
that too.
The new wave. Hey, just stay there 2 years, and when you figure out you can't win, just tell them you want traded.
That's right.
You already got
That
the
is
bag.
a new wave.
That is.
Yeah.
You don't even
Get
have to
me up
wait
outta
2
here.
years. Kevin Durant just signed a big extension.
Yeah, right?
No,
I tried all I could.
Yeah.
All right, time for the top 5.
It is time for Top 5, and as always, the Top 5, or Ultimate 5, is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of 20%. Yeah, 20%. Wow. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will love and save money too. And today's Ultimate 5 list is the best things about 4th of July weekend, a timely weekend for all of us with it approaching and not having a show Monday. So,
right.
FYI to the viewers, we'll be back on Tuesday.
That's right.
No show Monday. So without further
What are the top
ado,
5 things about the 4th of July weekend?
Yes, with
Let's
no
do it.
graphics.
No
Number
graphics?
5. We actually lost internet down here. We're still streaming perfectly fine. We just can't connect to the RVR, so no graphics. They're working on it.
Oh.
But we are live, and that just means more FaceTime for you guys. And who doesn't want
Hold
to
on,
see Bull
we do have a
do the white
backup
man
graphic.
underbite?
We have a backup graphic plan.
Old school.
We have a backup graphic
I
plan.
like it.
Yeah, this is extremely primitive, but you can tell me in my ear what number 5 is, and then I'll go ahead and write it down, and that's our...
He got the
Okay,
Fred
drum roll,
Flintstone
please. G.
tablet.
Bush, can I get a drum roll?
All right, let's do it.
Jay, you ready?
That's a big one, man. Hold on. All right,
Number
number 5.
five. Hot dog eating contest. The Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Our man Joey Chestnut will talk about in a sec. Always a fun tradition on the 4th
I'm
of
very
July.
bitter about the hot dog eating contest. More on that with the Joey Chestnut bet. Also on my final take, I got something to say about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Are those all beef hot dogs?
Oh, yeah.
They better be. Because if they're snouts and hooves and he's down in 75
Have you
of
ever been
them,
to Nathan's?
It makes
No,
me
but
sick
I
a little
remember
bit.
my man Kobayashi shoved them things down his throat. I
Yeah,
was
but
like,
Joey Chestnut
I was like,
kicked
no,
his
no,
ass.
but I'm saying this.
Yeah.
Pause.
I mean, how sick are you after that? I just couldn't.
I've never eaten a hot dog in
And
my
then
life.
plus you eating wet, soggy
They're
buns.
professional
Oh,
That's the worst.
That's the wet,
They're
soggy.
dipping them in water. That is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting.
I had to stop watching it a couple years back. I just couldn't take it no more.
Love it. Love it.
Number 4.
All right,
Number
Brad,
4.
drum roll. Brad, can I get a drum roll? Number 4.
Boom!
A day off of work. Who doesn't love a day off of work on Monday? It's the first time in my professional career I don't have to work on 4th of July.
Is it really?
Yep. I'm ecstatic.
My
do you know
goodness.
Shout out to the struggle. I'm with you.
Do you know them people's? They we get off on Friday and maybe Monday. People take a vacation.
Yeah.
Them people's they get off on Wednesday. They start off on Wednesday. They get a 7-day week.
You know, Wednesdays, I hate when it lands on Wednesday. It's also my birthday,
Yeah.
so I love to celebrate it around a weekend. When it's a Wednesday, that's like
The worst.
that's terrible.
Don't Jay get special days off, right? He off to
Yeah,
like
his
next Thursday or
contract's
something.
all special fancy. He works upstairs too.
Man,
So.
I'm Joe Six-Pack. I'm as Joe Six-Pack as it gets.
All right, number 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Bull, your drum roll. Yep.
Let's go.
Afternoon baseball.
I like
Almost
that.
all exclusively afternoon games.
I like
on
that.
The 4th of
I like
July.
that.
It's
Listen.
awesome
But there's
baseball
always,
all day.
always afternoon baseball.
Nah, we
it's
don't
not
care
unique to
until
4th
that
of
day.
July.
Not during the week.
And that's
I mean, if it were a Saturday or Sunday,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
it would
but
be,
a lot of I don't know, but people want to. They have a lot of not all the games are during the day because a lot of these places have fireworks shows at these games.
I'm synonymous with. See, you watch 198 baseball games.
Yeah,
I get like 37.
All right.
Yeah. All right, number 2.
Say it in my ear again. I'm not sure I heard that right.
It is. I see it. It's right.
Oh,
It's
I
right.
wrote it down
Number
right?
2.
Okay. Boom!
America. The best country ever. Let's go, America.
We're top 5.
Top 5?
Like,
Top
what,
five
what,
country.
what are you talking about? Top 5 country.
Hey, Norway's pretty
Top
cool.
5.
Now, let me tell you
No,
something.
bro, come on.
I lived a lot
It's
of
top
places
2
in
in
this
the
Hey,
world.
take it on the chin.
You're tripping.
International, take it on the
hey,
chin. Take it on the chin from our own people.
I've lived a lot of places.
Hey.
And this is there. I haven't seen any better.
Hey, Finland is
thank
a
you,
nice
Brad.
place.
America.
It's a top 5 country, man. I like it. It's great.
Top
No,
5.
it's number 1.
The taxes could be a little lower, but
we're a little biased.
A little lower.
All right, and
higher.
number 1, before we
Go
get
to
to good
Canada.
bet, bad bet.
least you got
Half
that.
your check is gone.
This is the winner here.
Boom, boom, boom.
This is the
This
one.
number one for sure.
This is the winner.
Boom.
Backyard barbecue.
No question.
Grilling.
number one.
Yeah,
beer,
that is great.
Cornhole,
Oh, yeah.
can jam,
Look, got a
all
couple-
the games,
Beer.
all the
Got a
friends,
couple
all the family,
tomahawk
all
steaks
the
that's
beer,
going on
all
the
the
grill.
food, hot dogs,
All right,
burgers,
all right,
chicken,
all right,
lemonade,
all right.
you name it, it's there.
All
Backyard
right,
barbecue.
all right.
It's on
I
the
gotta
poppin'.
ask a question.
It's on
I
the
gotta
poppin'.
ask a question really quickly. What is the rules on a barbecue? If you invite some cats through, first and foremost,
Okay.
what is the responsibility of your host? What is the responsibility of your guest? Is it a party foul if you tell somebody, hey, you got to bring your own meat?
Yes.
No.
If you're inviting someone to your house,
first of all,
the meat is provided.
Yes.
So
Free.
first of all,
bring your own
what you
meat.
just suggested was hood.
Right.
Like,
Hey,
if I'm coming over,
Come on, Nicole.
I'm providing the meat.
Yes.
You better come in here with some sides.
Okay,
Yeah,
side
sides
game.
and
Yes.
drinks.
Hold on, you better come.
Desserts
You better
and
come in here with.
drinks.
You better come in here with some
Desserts
liquor.
Yep.
Okay.
And some pop for the kids.
However, I will say this: there is a baseline of liquor that you have to provide.
Oh, there's no question.
I mean,
There's
you can't.
There's a
Like, yes,
baseline.
I brought the meat. I got nothing to drink.
Right.
There's got to be some drinks.
Right.
But like, if someone wants to come up there and they want to have a mixed drink, it's not the host's responsibility
Don't
to
roll
provide
in here
that.
empty-handed.
Don't come
Don't
up
do
here
that to
empty-handed.
me.
Hey,
Don't do that to me.
I got invited to.
Bring me some dessert too.
I
Yeah,
got
dessert
invited
is
to a
always
4th of July barbecue. I'm going to bring dessert.
Yes, you bring dessert.
Right.
Bring some drink
All right.
too.
This
Bring
is-
some drink.
this
If
is-
it's just for you,
But I
that's
don't
fine.
drink.
Paper time.
Well,
We got
soda.
lemonade.
It's a small gathering.
We have
I don't-
lemonade.
It's not going to be
Now
heavy
let me.
alcohol.
This is my follow-up question.
Yes. Don't do the hood stuff. Come on.
Are you permitted to take a plate home?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's the.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
easy, OG.
Hey, hold
That's
on.
easy.
Hold on now. Those hood rules apply.
No, you're encouraged to take a plate. Really,
Take a
because
plate.
When
Yeah,
I'm
right.
hosting,
Take
the
a
last
plate.
thing I want.
I don't want
is
all this food.
80 different containers in my
Right.
refrigerator
Oh, it's
of
annoying.
food I'm never going to
Yeah,
eat.
right.
No, take this
So,
with you.
yeah.
You want to give it away when you're the host.
Yeah,
Take it
take
away.
something with you. Here's
By
a
the
plate.
way,
Boom.
speaking of food to go, if you go to a buffet to eat, are you allowed to take a plate
No,
to go?
no.
No, we're not doing that.
He know the rules.
Now, you are allowed to stay 3 hours, and if you want, go to the bathroom in between and do whatever you need to do.
Hold on, those are the suburban rules. You go to the
Yeah.
buffet.
Suburban. I grew up in Brooklyn.
I can't tell. You go to the buffet with a take home.
Now,
Yeah.
OG, now y'all, you guys are hosts, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because, like, y'all's houses is exponentially bigger than mine, so y'all never coming to my house till I get a house. By the way,
Until I get a house.
now, are you allowed?
People in my neighborhood grilling in the front yard. What are you talking about? Stop playing. Stop playing.
Chain link fence and front yard barbecuing.
Are you allowed to use another man's restroom?
Of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
What are you gonna do?
Absolutely.
Pee
Clean
on the
up
side
after
of the
yourself.
house?
I got all the goods in there. Clean up after yourself, though.
Yeah, just make it nice when you're done.
Right, be
Leave
done.
it how you found it.
Right.
But you can't.
You can't drop a deuce.
Can't go.
And you can't
drop a
and
deuce.
you
No,
can't
no,
drop a deuce upper tank.
No,
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Hey, so hold on.
Do not go.
Hold
do not
on.
go to the master.
Don't go upper tank.
Yeah, no.
I'll be
down there.
Be in OG's bathroom,
Basement bathroom down there.
attached to his bedroom upstairs. Everybody, where'd
Wait,
you
here's
push
the
that?
thing. Is your toilet
thought he was
extra
gonna hide the
tall?
good one from me.
No, it's at ADA height.
You got a regular height?
ADA height.
How does he not have a taller toilet?
ADA height. I got kids.
You got long legs.
Well, they only make two that I'm aware of. The standard and
He's Brad Sellers. He can't get a specially made
Yeah,
toilet.
I could, but I don't. Why
I'm
not?
like, he's gonna have a really great throne up
Look,
there.
look,
They're
look.
like,
You don't think Shaq's got a special toilet in his
Here,
house?
the only ones that can go use the master, the kids. Go upstairs.
okay.
The visitors, there or the basement bath. There you go. And take
You're
the spray.
telling me we got to do something. Are we going to final takes now?
We got good bet, bad bet real quick. I'm going
okay.
to tell the bets because we don't have the graphics. and
Before you do it, Mike, I just want to say shout out to Mike and Anthony who came down to our final regular season Little League game last night.
And how did it go?
Went great. You guys want to
Domination.
comment?
Domination.
Our
What
best
was
game of the year.
Listen, I haven't seen a 10-year-old Little League coach in a long time, but it was beyond impressive how coachable Bull was and how different Coach Bull is than UCSS panel.
Kinder, gentler Bull.
Much kinder, yeah.
Oh, good job, bull.
Very nice.
We won 16-5.
Ooh.
Best win of the year.
Best win of the year.
And it's the last win of the last game of
Last
the
the regular season. Playoffs for Tuesday.
Do you know who you play yet?
Yeah.
How have you fared against them?
They just smoked us a couple last
That's
week.
okay.
It's hard to beat a team.
But I
three
was
times.
fine. After the game, these guys left before the end of the game. But at the end of the game, I had the kids in a huddle, and all the parents were around. And I was like, we are gonna beat this team. I give like the kids went nuts.
Yeah, good.
So we'll see. But it was fun. These guys were with me there. We had a great time.
We had video, right?
Yeah, they're gonna put together.
Yeah, we shot about the first 3 innings, and then we had to get back because overtime bills.
By the way, after the first inning, so my catcher was on base when we were the road team in the top of the second inning. The second inning is 2 outs at the top of the second. I said to Mike, Mike, grab because he's a lefty, same as me. I said, grab my glove. You're going to warm up my pitcher this next inning.
Nice.
Because my catcher was on base, so I knew it was going to take him some time to get his gear on. So they make the third out. And Mikey goes and warms up my pitcher, right?
That's awesome.
The kid had a gun.
Yeah, he throws
First
hard.
off, Bull's mitt, real quick. Bull's mitt, I don't know if it's from the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, or the 30s, but there's not an ounce of
Ed
padding.
Pool on it, so I'm just guessing.
Dude, I've been using that same mitt since high school.
Yeah, I can tell.
I love it. It's so broken in. I don't really play anymore.
It's a Rawlings.
No, it's a Mizuno.
Oh, wow.
It was virtually just wearing a batting glove, to be honest.
No. First of all, my glove is a first baseman's glove.
But to be honest, the kid, Paul, that's his name, right, Paul?
Yeah, Paul.
That is a
He
myth.
threw some heat, Jay. I'm telling you, you'd be impressed. He really was.
Really?
Little caveat: his dad might be a former hockey player. I can't confirm nor deny.
His dad's from Canada. Yeah, I had to pull him before the end of the game. He ran out of gas in the last
Hey,
inning.
somebody go back to zoom in on that mitt.
Yeah, the mitt was all-time
The
epic.
Charlie Brown
Yeah.
mitt. Charlie Brown.
That's true. But listen, my glove's old, but not that old. My glove's a first baseman's mitt.
That
'cause
looks
I
like
played
a-
first base.
That looks
That's
like
Babe Ruth's glove.
That's a Brown Hamburger Helper logo.
It is. It is.
All right, we're going to do good bet, bad bet
Yeah.
real quick and then get to final takes. We don't have the graphics, so I'm just going to tell y'all how everyone went through.
Okay.
Tonight, Yankees getting
Wait,
a
where
1.5.
Where are we? What did we do
No graphics.
yesterday?
G. Bush went 1-2. You and Bull went 2-1. So now Jay
we're
and Bull
tied.
tied for first. G. Bush, for the
back,
first
G
time
back.
since we started, no longer in first place.
Oh,
Tough
I'm
day
sorry.
for G. Bush.
And that hurt my heart.
All right.
All right, so Yankees favored by a 1.5 tonight against the Guardians. Brad, you're the only one that said bad.
Yeah, because I don't think it's going to be a winner. I think that
Wait.
the it's a 1.5 spread on it, and I just think that it's going the other way.
Cole's been good recently, but
Yeah.
he's had some struggles
I
this
think
year.
it's
Wait a second. I picked the Yankees to win and cover.
Yeah, exactly. Brad
Right.
was the only one who picked the Guardians to
So
cover.
you think the Guardians are going to win?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, second one. Stallions,
it was worded
4.5
differently.
point
It was-
favorites over the Stars in the USFL Championship. Our guy, Coach Holtz. G and Bull said bad. Jay and Brad said good.
Yeah.
All these games have been close.
Yep.
Yeah,
But-
but
but-
they crushed them in the regular season.
Birmingham's been playing. I kind of follow it. They've been playing pretty good.
Yeah, and
right?
Birmingham.
And I
crushed
just
them in the
and
regular
I
season.
think Holtz,
They got
the way
win
he
by
coaches,
5, right?
the coaches,
Yeah, they
the
do.
players play for Holtz. They do. They
Yeah,
do.
they
They
like
really like him.
All right.
Number
And
3.
finally, under 74.5 hot dogs for Joey Chestnut in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Everyone said bad, so y'all think he's going to break the record.
Yeah, he's going to break the record. They
Joe,
seem to
all
break
right, here's the
record every
thing.
year.
For the last, I want to say 7 years, 6 out of 7 times he's broken the record.
Soggy dogs.
And he had won 74.5 last year. He has no competition. His competition
disgusting.
is
It's the record.
himself.
The record.
Is the record. That's
Yeah.
it. He always goes. Plus, I think for the first time in 3 years, they'll be back out.
Out in Coney Island.
Well, they were in Coney Island last year, but not. They were indoors. It was weird. Aren't they back in the main, like
Yeah,
right
they
by
are.
Nathan's?
They're back where they used to do it before COVID.
Yeah.
Question for you. Everyone has a price. How much before you will eat a hot dog bun that is saturated in water?
I mean, all depends on what I pay. What bills is due. Like, let me see. I mean, it ain't that much. I mean, we like $70, 75.
I'm
That's
way
light.
more than that.
That's
I'll
light.
vomit if I eat a hot dog bun.
I mean,
that's
it
soaked in
might
water.
not.
I'm not doing it.
You're not doing that.
Every
I don't
time
even know if I have a price for that.
I like watching the show, but it make you sick, right? I can't.
75.
I cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even really watch
Bull,
it.
would you do that? Eat a hot dog bun soaked in water?
I wouldn't want to. I would love to be. I'll talk more about that. Should we just go to final takes? Because I'll continue.
Yep,
with
let's
that.
start him. Bull, you're up first.
Yeah, okay. So, speaking of which, I really think I missed my calling. Forget this sports talk nonsense. I should have been a competitive eater. Now, the reality is that most of the championship level competitive eaters are skinny.
About 100 pounds.
Which is a really big insult
Yeah.
to us fat guys. I mean, it's like, what do we got? We got eating. I can eat. But I wouldn't be good at the hot dog eating contest. I'd be in for the pizza eating. Shrimp. Nobody can eat shrimp like me. I'll kill you. I'll kill you all on shrimp. But, by the way, final thing, ESPN has dropped the ball in a big-time way. How they have not made me the play-by-play announcer. They should. I mean, they should just hire me to be the play-by-play announcer for the hot dog eating contest.
Who does it?
I think last year was Golick's kid, Mike Jr.
It is. It's Mike Golick Jr.
Right, and he did an all right job. But listen, this is my calling, ESPN. Listen, please, I'll give you one more chance. Hire me next year. I will do the perfect job. I love the hot dog eating contest. In fact, when I was living in New Jersey, we would watch it at my brother-in-law's house. We'd mute the TV. There'd be like 200 people in a party, and I would do the play-by-play of the hot dog eating contest.
How do you do
This is my
play-by-play,
obsession.
though? And another one down the gullet.
And down the stretch they come. No, I don't know. But I love the hot dog eating contest, and someday I would like to be a competitive eater. I got to join the circuit,
my God.
but I got to figure out how in fact I can
Don't
have
do it
success.
now while you're trying to lose weight.
No.
You got to actually be truthful. The smaller you are, the more your stomach can expand.
Yeah, that's
Those guys are athletes. They're better athletes than bowlers. They're better athletes than pool
you,
I
players.
don't have them as athletes.
They're better athletes than golfers.
They're not running, they're not jumping, they're eating 75 hot dogs.
Brad, before you go, just a little bit of breaking news. The Cavs have signed Robin Lopez to a 1-year veteran minimum deal as a backup center to Jared Allen.
We getting bigger.
He's not that piece, but he's a piece.
We're getting
I
bigger.
like that. I like that.
Nice bench guy.
Yeah, good guy to bring in off the bench.
like that.
Robin Lopez.
I want to say out there to all the parents, you guys are wrong. Those guys in the upper generation, you guys, I'm a Generation X type guy, and all we heard for half my life was, you ain't never gonna do nothing playing them doggone video games. That's the reason you're in the house. You play too many video games. This world, this society is messed up because of video games. Well, to much my dismay, to much your dismay, well, here's the thing about video games. Video games are a billion-dollar industry now. There are kids every single day making six figures playing video games. There are even jobs. There are even jobs in my profession, broadcasting, where you do nothing but broadcast and stream, and then you commentate on fighting games, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all the great ones, all the great Mario Kart, all of them. There's announcers for all those things. So, America, I will say, is great about this, right? America, they say you could be anything in America. Guess what? They were right. Video games have taken off. You can make a living playing video games, and the top video game guys, they make more than all four of us up here combined. So at the end of the day, the great thing about America is if you get really good at anything, it could be push-ups, it could be speed, video games, or even eating hot dogs. You could make a living, and a good one here too.
Damn right.
Doesn't Ninja make like 20 a month?
He's loaded.
20 million.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
I don't know if he's still bringing that down, but when Fortnite was at its peak, he was making $20 million streaming his
By the way,
video
Robin
on
Lopez
Twitch.
averaged 7 points, 4 boards last year, playing just 17 minutes a game. That's
I
not
like
bad.
it. I like it.
All right, so here, let me just end by saying my final take is this. The collegiate landscape has changed forever. And I need everybody to get a grip on that, because in the day's game where people don't stay long, you don't know who they are, you don't get to watch them for 4 years, mature, and you get to they really become a part of your family if that's your team, right? They move on. The realignment of these conferences has done such a thing now that it will make college sports relevant again, right? College track and field. I'm glad to see the West Coast coming in here with the Midwest. The golf people, the tennis folks, all the other accessory sports are now going to get highlighted because of the TV money that is going to come in here. It's going to allow the other sports to prosper. We're going to start to see our new next wave of golfers, our new next wave of the people coming behind Serena Williams, the new WNBA players. It is a benefit, and I don't care if you like it or not, this is the way it's going. And guess what? You brought it on yourself because you didn't want to share the money from the beginning, so now the money has changed the landscape of this game forever. Shmoney.
Yeah, that's a different level of money. Mine was going to be on the new emerging NCAA landscape, and so I don't want to repeat a lot of what you said, but what you said was exactly what I was going to.
Birthday
Our boy Jay.
Happy birthday to
They were out of celery cake, Jay.
Happy birthday, dear Jay.
That's carrot cake, Jay.
Happy birthday to you.
Jay's birthday is Monday. He's going to be off. Well, none of us will be here Monday, but he'll be off all night.
We caught you. You thought we forgot.
So first of all,
I thought I'd escape.
Jay's not going to eat any of that.
No, he don't get some
No,
of
you
this
got
cake.
to eat.
Jay's going to eat some of that. I just have to do more cardio.
What are you? How old are you now?
57.
57. You look great.
Yeah, Jay, you don't look like
Jay,
it at
when
all.
I grew up, ESPN was 57 on the dial.
Channel 57?
Channel 57. This is you were on ESPN too, though, for the most part. So
I was.
So next year will be a special year for us.
Very good. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday. Enjoy your time off.
The older you get, the more you try to not think about your birthday.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's worth celebrating another trip around the sun.
No question.
And thanks, guys.
You've earned
Thank you very much.
You've earned it.
Welcome.
Is this year better than you were? Was this year better than when you were last year?
Yes, because of you guys. Because
is
of you
great.
guys.
Yeah.
So last year, it's funny how life, you never know what's around the next corner.
No.
You and I have talked about that, particularly, you know, for you, a guy that was working so hard to get that break. A year, I know this year is going to be better for you than last. You don't know what's coming. But I had figured as I transitioned into a much more relaxed role in broadcasting that I'd probably work with my last sports crew. And then, you know, this came up and it was too good not to at least flirt with. And I have a whole new family now that's a sports family that I didn't see coming. And for that, I'm grateful. And for all of you guys, I'm grateful. It's family now. I mean,
Absolutely.
You're stuck with me now, bro.
Yeah, you going nowhere.
Whether you like it or not, you're stuck with me.
We get on that boat.
I'm gonna get on the boat. I'm gonna take my shoes off too.
Do we cut this and eat it? We only have 45 seconds left.
Now let's say goodbye. Let's say everyone a great
Let's
4th
eat it
of
in
July
privacy.
weekend.
Yeah.
And we'll
Yay!
Have a wonderful 4th of July. Enjoy your independence. We're going to enjoy this cake. And the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show will be back on Tuesday. Have a great long weekend, everybody. Go Guardians!
Yeah!